Now, because of the damage of the soul, the body has not recovered, let alone strength. Not long ago, Long Qingxie's body was attacked by the fierce human form, leaving several wounds of different depths. However, at this time, he was just like he was outside the cave of Warcraft Forest. He was always in front of Yunwu, like a high wall that would never fall down. He didn't retreat half a minute. In the fight between the two elders and Long Qingxie, it can be said that they have the upper hand. In addition to defense, Long Qingxie has no power to fight back. However, the second elder still felt a burst of fear, which filled his body. The source of the fear is always behind the dragon, lowering his head and focusing on the cloud dance in his hands. During the time when Long Qingxie resisted the two elders, the seal knot in the hands of Cloud Dance changed several times. It looked more like the seal knot used by Long Qingxie before. It was just the beginning. What Cloud Dance does now is a complete set. The two elders are more and more uneasy. They want to get rid of the dragon's evil as soon as possible and prevent the Cloud Dance from completing the whole set of seal knot. With the second elder's blood splashing on the human fighting spirit, Long Qingxie even heard a scream coming from the fighting spirit, as if there were real ghosts. For example, the speed of the fighting spirit of the human figure was more than doubled. In the short video of Long Qingxie, the opponent opened a bloody hole in his left shoulder. Cloud Dance looked at him distractedly, frowned and yelled, "Hold on a little longer." Dragon Qing Evil Head does not return to stand in front of Cloud Dance body. Blood-stained face emerged a chilling smile, eyes gradually scarlet up. "Take care of yourself. If my woman's body is damaged, I will kill you," said the overbearing voice. At the end of the speech, the dragon's eyes became scarlet and bloodthirsty. Although he had lost a lot of blood, he cut his wrist on the blade of épée. Strangely, the blood did not flow to the ground along the sword body, but was absorbed by épée. With the dragon pouring evil blood to feed the sword, the red veins on the sword body become more and more bright. In the end, they all begin to have ruby-like luster. After putting the blood, Long Qingxie's face became pale. But the sneer on his face is more and more bloodthirsty evil spirit. Under the blade-like eyebrow, his eyes are cold and bright. "I didn't want to do it recently, but a dead man came to beg for death. I'll give you some face." Smell speech of two elder, disdain of nose hiss, quite arrogant tone. Just in time, this elder also along the way send you to see Yan Wangyi. After that, the two elders were ready to kill the dragon as quickly as possible. However, at this time, those two elder just return a pair of proud disdain of face up, abruptly brush once put on consternation. After he said that, Long Qingxie held the épée in both hands and cut directly at the two elders. Where the sword edge passes, the wind roars and the murderous spirit rises. The elder's face changed slightly. He hurriedly directed the human form to fight against Long Qingxie for a long time. But Long Qingxie didn't care about the wounds on his body. It's scarlet and bloodthirsty. It's amazing. Wow, the sharp edge of épée cleaved on the two elders' shoulders. Under the control of Long Qingxie, he sliced the two elders from the left shoulder to the right lower abdomen directly into two parts. "Ah!" Scream, in an instant burst of air. His face changed and he began to tremble from the bottom of his heart. It turns out that the man didn't just rely on external things, but from the beginning he didn't really show his ability. I didn't expect that the second elder would be killed at the same time that the two elders split into two and broke their breath under the scream. The fighting spirit of the human form was exhausted and dissipated between the heaven and the earth. Long Qingxie looks at the body of the two elders who are not in peace. There was not a drop of blood on the corpse. The mask fell down because of the fall. Under the mask, there was a face covered with dead ash and thin in the iron blue. This person who has been dead for a long time, this time, is really dead. Long Qingxie moves slowly to support the ground with épée, looking coldly at those who are still in the same place, and their faces turn white. There is no need for him to speak. Under his gaze, none of those people dare to go. At the thought of this man killing 3 elders in such a short time, all of them seemed to be nailed in the same place and had no courage to move. All right. Busy for a long time Cloud Dance, the hands of countless flowers like seal knot. I saw that the knots were shining with golden light, forming a string, like butterflies flying in the wind, towards the center of the wood gossip in the sky. Then you can go too. The dragon turns around slowly and looks at Cloud Dance. You should know the key to opening the array. When everyone is ready, open it. Cloud Dance does not care about the attitude of dragon. Just looking at the string of golden stream, some trance, some vicissitudes, and like some gloomy. Well, don't be so nervous. Cloud Dance looked at the sharp eyes of the dragon, some meaningful way, that this is gone, but in the future, we may have a chance to meet. Finish saying, also didn't wait for the dragon to pour evil to make what reaction, a shallow light, schwa for a while, from Cloud Dance that eyes in twinkle but pass. Next second, Long Qingxia saw the man in front of him, and his eyes gradually recovered. However, Yunwu wakes up and soon frowns. Rubbed some tingling head, what just happened? She remembers that after a stab in her head, something seemed to happen, but her memory was blank. What the hell happened? Cloud Dance can't help but lift eyes and look at the dragon who stares at him. However, he is stunned by the bloodstain of the wound on his body. What's going on? What happened just now? It's all right. With warmth and a little rogue smile, back to the face of the dragon again. With that, Long Qingxia goes to Yunwu and reaches out his hand to hold her in his arms. However, Long Qingxia took a step, his face suddenly changed, and a mouthful of fresh blood came out of his mouth. At the same time, his whole person is like a collapsed sand pile, and he immediately falls to the ground. Cloud Dance and see this moment, heart suddenly a draw. Fortunately, at the moment of falling to the ground, Long Qingxia knelt down on one knee, holding on to his side with one hand and the handle of a pei with the other, so that he could barely avoid the scene of falling. Long Qingxia, how can you do this? What just happened? Cloud Dance is almost subconscious, quickly bent over to support Long Qingxia to sit down on the ground, and the sight naturally noticed the unhealed wound on his wrist. The wound seemed to have been cut by the sword in his own hand. What happened and how could it be so embarrassing? Is it just that her body was controlled by what? At the thought of this possibility, Yunwu's face was suddenly gloomy. However, at this time, Yunwu wanted to see the injury of Long Qingxi, but Long Qingxi held his right hand. I'm fine. Long Qingxia took a few breaths heavily, and his breath was full of blood. Cloud Dance brow tight wrinkly, stare at him away. Have no problem, why don't you refuse to let me give you feel a pulse? Well, little one, I'm afraid it's not the time to start a crime. Dragon Qing evil face with helpless, but holding Cloud Dance right hand action has not let go. He knows his body very well, but now is not the time for her to worry. Just then, in the distance, there were a few birdsong, and Long Qingxia stood up with a pei as expected. With a gentle look in his eyes, he said to the cloud, "Little thing, you should protect yourself and take you away for a while. This silly man, this time should care about, should also be his Ona. She has the ability to protect herself, but now Yunwu wants to show indifference in the past, but looking at the man standing in front of her, she seems to be unable to ignore it anymore. Haw! After a while, the sound of birds from the sky has come from far and near. At this time, the Cloud Dance could see clearly that there was a huge winged bird in midair, and on her back, she was carrying a white-haired old woman. Messy white hair, covering in front of the forehead, wearing a worn patch of farm clothes, sitting on the back of the winged bird. To tell you the truth, at first sight, I thought she was a beggar woman. But when Yunwu's sharp eyes swept, her white hair under that pair of gloomy and strange white eyes, suddenly also some scared eyes. Isn't this the ghost pupil that is often shown in movies? I didn't expect that I could really see it in reality. At the moment I saw it, I really felt that my hair was up. This should be the current leader of the 10,000 Beast sect. Dragon Qing evil low voice, gently from her ear. Cloud Dance pick eyebrow, the current leader of 10,000 beasts? So this old woman is responsible for all this? I saw that the old woman came, white hair under the pair of white eyes, overcast swept around the eyes below. When I saw the body of the second elder and the third elder, her white pupils seemed to be squinting in an instant, a strange and inexplicable smell, which spread from her as the center. Did you break into my beast gate and kill my son? Abnormal hoarse old voice, died with a puzzling creeps from the mid-air. What about her? Those three who just called themselves Marshall brothers are not brothers? Is this old lady right? Long Qingxia raised his mouth slightly and raised his eyes to look at the old woman. After hearing this, the old woman was not angry. She only used her dark eyes to stare at the dragon, which was very strange. Seeing this, Yunwu felt a sense of foreboding at the bottom of his heart. As soon as he moved, he immediately stood beside the dragon. Wait a minute, don't be a hero, stand behind me. Yunwu whispered to the man beside him. She knows something about the man's pride. However, in her eyes, no man has to stand in front of a woman. It's more important than anything to get out of here alive. Long Qingxia turns his head and looks at the woman around him. The corner of his mouth seems to deepen a little. There is an undercurrent at the bottom of his deep eyes. However, I didn't wait for the dragon to speak again. The old woman sitting behind the winged bird in mid-air, her hoarse voice rang out. It seems that you two want to compete with each other when you are dying. Good. See, in that inexplicable jia creepy laughter, the figure in the air suddenly jumped down. Quick and neat. In the twinkling of an eye, I saw that the old woman fell beside the body of the three elders who had been thrown to pieces. When the old woman landed, Yunwu's eyes narrowed slightly. No legs? The empty lower part of the body, cut outside, is an upper part of the body, very abrupt. However, these are only the second. Because the next scene is let cloud dance, even the dragon pour evil, all feel nausea scene. The old woman grabbed the bloody corpse on the ground with her bare hands and sent it to her mouth as soon as she fell to the ground. The sound of biting bachi was bright red and dyed her white hair on her lips, which seemed to be a scene of delicious food. In a moment, all the disciples on the scene felt a tumbling in their stomach at this time. The crisis in Yunwu's heart is deeper. His brow tightened, and he came close to the dragon and said in a low voice, "Wait a minute, you will leave first when you catch the chance. Do you hear me? What? Are you worried about your husband?" At this time, the dragon was in a relaxed mood. Cloud dance sometimes, really some don't understand, this man in the end is what psychology, at this time, still in the mood of joking. However, at this time, the old woman who was eating the broken body suddenly made a creak sound. As if it's the feeling of the bones and joints twisting. Cluck, quickly, the old woman's body suddenly protruded several bones. Tear! The tearing sound of the clothes being punctured. Only her thin body, 8 white sharp bones, interspersed in the body on both sides of the exposed. What's that? Yunwu looked at it and frowned. Long Qingxia's dark eyes narrowed slightly. It turned out to be a Black Widow. I thought it was a powerful role. Black Widow? Is it? I haven't waited for Yunwu to speak. The 8 white bones on the old woman's body extend towards both sides in an instant, with sharp limbs and rows of small but sharp spines on the side of the bones. It won't take a moment. 8 long sharp legs have been fully expanded, the original lean body, at this time by the 8 long legs support hanging in mid-air. And the face under the messy white hair, finally exposed in the outside. I saw that it was a distorted facial features. White eyes stare at them, blood-red lips stained with blood, showing 2 long teeth. Is this still a human? Anyway, it's like a mutant spider. Boy, you two have good strength. Now that you've come to my beast gate, don't leave. You'll stay together and let the old woman have a good appetite. Just now also hoarse voice, now become that harsh sharp. Long Qingxia's handsome face finally smiled down, extremely cold eyes show. You have a big appetite, but I'm afraid you don't have that ability. Haha, you're a big boy. Okay, I'll take you as an appetizer first. With a sharp voice, the old woman's white eyes were covered with blood and cold. All of a sudden, her white hair, like a spider spinning silk, shwa, filled the air and quickly attacked the dragon. Yunwu's face sank, the sword in his hand flashed at the moment, and the fire element condensed in an instant. Back up. As soon as the shrill voice fell, the cloud danced and the foot moved. The figure was like a shadow and it went away. Long Qingxia looks at Yunwu's quick action. On his cold face, he can't help but raise a smile arc. This stupid woman really takes him as a sick man? However, at this time, the dragon Qingxie, originally in the hands of the seal action quietly, but slowly stopped. Focus on the line of sight, on the woman who stood up for him. To be honest, how long has it been since he learned of his life experience that he has not been truly protected? The taste, I really miss it. Looking at the cloud dance, the deep black eyes of Dragon Qingxie unconsciously catch a touch of imperceptible soft light and cloud dance. In the body shape of a flash past at the moment, the hands of the fine sword dyed with fire, rapid horizontal cut down. Hit white hair, such as steel wire, under the knife, actually set off bursts of sparks. However, the fire element in cloud dance is not an ordinary fire element after all. In a few seconds, the smell of scorching, white hair off. The old woman's face suddenly changed, and she suddenly took back her hair, which was cut and scorched. It seems unexpected that this seemingly weak boy can cut off her white silk. Damn it. The old woman was angry and narrowed her gloomy white eyes. Suddenly, her mouth opened, and a white mist suddenly came out of her tusks. Cloud dance since the hand, the body's muscles naturally in a full state of tension. At the moment when the white fog hit, the body twisted and flashed at a strange angle. ZZ. White fog fell on the ground, and a stream of white smoke rose in a moment. I saw that the ground had been corroded into a small hole. It's highly toxic with strong corrosiveness. Cloud dance eyes a cold, ridicule-like said, "Old thing, you this spitting habit can be really enough disgusting. I don't know how your man can stand you." The old woman's face sank and she was a little angry. Cloud dances in that next second, body shape in a flash, jump up with extremely fast speed. The sword was held high, the fire elements were fused and injected, and the moment the fire was rising, it fell fiercely towards the old woman. Yunwu is very clear in her heart that she is definitely not the opponent of this old woman. Therefore, we can only make a quick shot to see if we can take advantage of it. However, ka-dash. The sound of being resisted. Boy, if you want to hurt me, it's a little tender, but you're a weak boy, you still have some ability. The flesh and blood will be delicious. The old woman stares at Yunwu in a gloomy way. She just raises her two legs with her forelimbs to resist Yunwu's attack. At this time, is proud like Gaga said with a smile, by the way sucked the mouth of saliva, out of the tongue licked the blood-red lip. It's like watching some delicious food. To be honest, it's disgusting. Cloud dance that cool pupil mouth flash to put on gloomy, kill idea full. However, after hearing her words, the corners of her mouth coldly outlined a curve. Old thing, you want to eat me, I'm afraid you can't bite. To say arrogant, in fact, sometimes, cloud dance is no less than dragon. However, when the old woman heard Yunwu's words, it was as if she had heard some big joke. Can't bite? Boy, how naive you are. You haven't really seen my black mother's ability, haha. Hainyang raised her head and laughed. Is it? The cloud dances the corner of the mouth to raise, but at that moment when the black Nyang raises her head and laughs, the wind element is wrapped in the body in an instant, the body shape is in a flash, and the residual shadow is brushed. At the same time, a few tiny things that were imperceptible threw into her mouth when she was not prepared. Hainyang is an old man. How can she be unprepared, but she is still too proud. In the moment of a lung, the pill melted as soon as it was taken, which made her have no time to spit it out. However, in the face of the attack of Yunwu, Hainyang's reaction was extremely rapid. Her two sharp little serrated long legs went straight to attack. Dragon Qing evil see this, eyebrow as see you, eyeground brush once a touch of worry of nervous. But at this time, Yunwu changed his attacking posture, suddenly turned back and quickly retreated. Maybe. Yunwu has never been an emotional person. When she knows that the head-on is not her opponent, she will not be silly and fight with her head-on. Therefore, in a retreat, when Hainyang's brush quickly attacked, the space element and wind element instantly changed, and the figure directly disappeared into the space element. Disappeared? The defeat of the attack made Black Nyang's face darken, and there was a trace of consternation. You know, with her ability and speed, even if the samurai comes, They will not be able to escape, not to mention a boy at the top of the 7th level. But immediately, her mind was aflash, and her white eyes shrank strangely. Space elements? Is it the rare element of space that hardly exists? Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible to disappear suddenly and avoid her attack. At that time, if it's really a space element, that kid is really talented. Young age is the peak of 7 levels, and the owner of space elements. If it develops in the future, then originally black face Black Nyang, later on think, that pair of strange white pupil but gradually rose a kind of abnormal potential and must get. Boy, you are not my opponent. You'd better surrender. As long as you are willing to surrender to me, I'll spare your life, otherwise. Black Nyang, that sharp voice, toward in the air shout. However, the words behind her didn't speak out, but at the moment when the words fell, her white eyes swept by and directly locked on the dragon's evil body not far away. The cloud dance in the space element, watching her lock her eyes to Dragon Qingxia. How can you not understand her meaning? Eyes suddenly cold. Hide. It's not the way. However, Dragon Qing evil sighed, but in that Black Nyang cast to come over the line of sight, that pair of deep black eyes in the instantaneous swept a trace of bloody undercurrent. A silent killing opportunity has been set off in his heart. In front of him, just want to hit his woman's attention, simply live impatient. However, Long Qingxia didn't act immediately. Instead, his black eyes quietly welcomed the sight of the black lady, which gave people a kind of weak feeling of being seriously injured. Black Nyang's vision a lock, confirmed that is a good start food. The speed of starting is not slow at all. As soon as the white-eyed pupil glimmered, it didn't give anyone a chance to react. 8 legs moved quickly, and at a strange speed, they rushed to the dragon. Long Qingxia's mouth quietly sneers, and his eyes are bloodthirsty. However, the clouds in the air to see this, it is a shrinking pupil. At the bottom of my heart, my body suddenly flashed out. Long Qingxia, get out of the way. The wind elements of both hands are condensed, and countless wind blades have turned into sharp knives to attack the black girl who pours at the dragon. Chong chong dash, I saw that the wind blade seemed to be smashed on the copper wall and iron sheet, but it was of no use to the black girl, and it didn't stop her from pouncing on the dragon. Damn it. Seeing that Long Qingxia is about to be attacked by Hainyang, Yunwu's face suddenly changes, and he rushes away quickly. But at this time, Long Qingxia quickly gave her a look. Also that look in the eyes, let the cloud dance movement stiff in situ directly. Boy, although I can't improve my strength by eating you, it's just right to use you as an appetizer. As Hainyang said this, she had 4 long legs on her forelimbs and attacked the dragon at the same time. She wanted to cut the dragon directly. Long Qingxia seems to be waiting for this moment, and the evil spirit sneer blooms on his face. Is that right? Is that right? This boy, he really doesn't know what to do. At this time suddenly, a strange and dazzling golden light burst into the sky in an instant. The light beam directly enveloped the dragon Qingxia and Hainyang. See, in that instant, Black Nyang, that pair of white pupil Mao, suddenly raised a burst of startled fear. What's this? The Black Nyang wants to withdraw for the first time, but the whole body is fixed in that instant. But it's not only that, there are waves of pain in my body, the outer ring. All they saw was a dazzling golden light, and nothing could be seen in the golden light. Of course, in the side of the cloud dance, we only see the golden light, but also can't see what happened in the golden light. However, just in a man's eyes, she understood. It turned out that the dragon had been ready for evil. Not a moment. Ah! A shrill, almost piercing scream sounded from the golden light. As soon as I heard the voice, I knew it was the cry of the head of the beast sect, Hainyang. What happened? Most of the beast's disciples, who are greedy for life and afraid of death, are already flustered when they hear the cry, and the slight fear is gradually diffused in many disciples. Is it true that even the leader has been defeated by these 2 boys? Impossible, absolutely impossible. With these 2 boys, how can they be the leader of the beast sect now? The golden beam disappeared. A thick smell of blood, in the first time diffuse and open. The The scene that appeared in front of people's eyes completely made everyone look silly. Combined with the smell of blood in the air, it can make people feel sick in their stomach. A pair of startled, even frightened eyes, all stiff, fell on the man who was like walking out of the blood pool. Even Cloud Dance, see that man, also can't help but frown. All over the body is the blood, even on the hair, it is still ticking with the blood-red smell. As for him, there was only a pile of fragmented corpses left. Strangely, there was no trace of blood on the pile of corpses whose internal organs were clearly visible. Don't think about it. It's on this man right now. It's just, how did he do it? Yunwoo looks at the dragon who is coming towards her, and her eyebrows are tightened tightly. Of course, it's not because of thinking, but because of the smell of blood on him. It's too smelly to bear. Don't get too close to me, it stinks. Yunwoo quickly reached out to stop him from approaching. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, footstep pause, looked down at himself, that is nourishing his body, but with poisonous blood, at this moment, he is really not suitable to close to her. But he couldn't help asking a question. Little thing, what did you just throw into her mouth? Things? Yunwoo thought about it, but he didn't hide it. At the beginning, I got some phoenix saliva from a man's hand outside Luoyang. I used some poison to mix it with the phoenix saliva and made it into a small pill. Can't the old woman vomit poison? I just got her some. Originally, she wanted to say that the effect of detoxification must be good. But before she could see the effect, the Black Nyang was greedy to attack the Dragon Qingxia, which became the end now. However, Cloud Dance does not know. It is precisely because of her pills, which are wrongly typed, that they play the role of detoxification under the insidious poison of Feng saliva liquid. What's more, they make the black girl's blood directly enter and become a great tonic effect. At this time, you can feel it clearly. Under the blood on his body, not only the source of his injury is being repaired, but also the damage of his soul seems to be getting nourishment, and his body healing ability is rapidly recovering. Of course, in addition, the strength of the samurai in his body is also rising like a jumper, little by little. Until he was about to break through the top of the samurai, he stopped. Samurai peak. It's only one step away from whooshing. Feeling the changes in the body, Long Qingxia didn't show any excitement. Because he doesn't want to, this little woman in front of him finally care for him because of these changes and disappeared. He would rather continue to play his weak. A cell in the back of the Gate of Beasts. It's more like a cell than a lab. Because in that spacious space, in addition to more than 10 large cells for human beings, it is an extremely modern laboratory platform. And connected to the other end of the lab platform are some Warcraft captured and imprisoned. Most of Warcraft's level is not high, but there are many kinds. If you look closely, there are some mice and chickens. It can be seen that this is called the Gate of Beasts, which is really appropriate. However, at this time, the focus is not on the Warcraft, but in one of the 10 or so cells, which is completely closed. A little guy, by a thick chain, to the whole body up and down winding tied like a little carrot head. The girl in red was sweating. When she locked the last lock, she stood up and breathed a sigh of relief. This damned guy. Originally a day's journey back and forth, just because of the non-cooperation of the test object in front of her, delayed her for several days. I don't know if the elder will punish her if she doesn't come back within the time ordered. However, she took back the runaway guy for the sect. The elders should not punish her. Maybe there will be rewards. Thinking about it, the girl in red was a little bit happy, so she was ready to go to the front to find the elder and get the merit. It's just that she has just turned around and has not taken 2 steps. Click. What's the sound of steel breaking? The girl in red frowned and turned her head. The next second, her pupils suddenly shrank. The black line on her forehead went straight down, and her face turned green and black. I saw the guy who was just tied up with little carrot. At this time, he had already sat up and was lowering his head, gnawing at the thick iron chain on his body. Even did not vomit, even chewed, directly to the stomach to swallow. People who saw this scene thought that what it was gnawing was not chains, but bread along the way. The girl in red tied it with a rope. It was also a mouthful directly gnawed away. I began to be surprised by it. It had already worn away all the way. So, after returning to the beast gate, the girl directly tied it tightly with the thickest iron chain. Unexpectedly, it was this scene again. Little monster, you've had enough. It's all coming back. You can accept your life. If you want to escape, they won't let you go. The girl in red looked at the little guy who was still gnawing his head and warned with a black face. It's a pity. Little Stink didn't talk to her from the beginning, and obviously didn't care about her from the beginning. So, for her warning threat, very arrogant, like direct disregard. If it is not felt, it is in this direction, it will not be caught again and again by her, back here. It's in this place, and it's not far away. Click, click dash, nibble. It's looking for Mama. Looking at the little thing in front of her, she still ignored her, biting the iron chain that had been wound around her, and the girl in red turned black again. You smelly thing, okay, you don't listen to me, right? I'll go to the elder now. You'll feel better. The girl in red is also extremely afraid of the little stinky tooth. How dare she do it? Angry, ferocious, fall down cruel words, immediately turned away. However, before he left, he locked the iron door of the room with several big locks before he left. Since her teeth were so good, she let her bite them to see if she could break them. When she finds the elder and comes back, the first thing she does is to take out his sharp tooth to see if he is still arrogant. It was not until the girl in red left that Little Stink raised his head from the chain. Little adult like, that pair of round big eyes, is disgusted with disdain. You are smelly, smelly woman. Broken reed, Small Stink continued to bite, until the body winding chain broken, chubby body just got up from the ground, peep 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 to the iron gate. Without saying anything, he opened his mouth and bit the big lock with a row of sharp teeth. An iron door, like bean curd dregs. It won't take a moment. The door was short of a big mouth, and the little fat ass came out of the prison room in her above-board manner. Mama, I'm back. Xiao Smelly was very excited at the bottom of his heart, and finally he was able to find Mama. However, Little Smelly was just about to go to find Yunwu, but there were many cries for help behind him. I saw that there were at least a lot of young men and women, and Warcraft on the other side of the prison. The square is still in the full view of those disciples. Ha pen. A sneeze suddenly came out of Yunwu's mouth. One side is using the clear water, simply wiped the dragon Qing Xie of the next face, lift the MOU to look at the cloud dance. What's the matter? Have you caught a cold? Yunwu rubbed goosebumps on her arm and shook her head. The heart is a strange. Why, she seems to feel the Little Stink calling her. What's more, just now her fire element seems to have a fluctuating jump. That obviously means that Little Stink seems to be not far away from her. However, her connection with the Little Stinky contract has not changed. In other words, it wasn't long after Xiaoqiu was taken away by Feng Wangnu that she felt that although she had a contract with Xiaoqiu, she seemed to be cut off by something. So, all the time, she didn't feel much movement about Little Stink. Cloud Dance also thought that it was Feng Wang who found out the contract between her and Xiaoqiu, so she didn't care much about her hands and feet. But how did she suddenly feel that Little Stink came? Is it true that Feng Wang and Xiaoxiuka are near the Beast Gate? Just when the clouds are thinking. Long Qingxie has simply dealt with the bloodstain on his face, and comes near. Little thing, what do you think? Suddenly close to the smell, let the cloud suddenly convergence mind, slow down. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at the man in front of him, and did not answer his question. After you leave, go to take a bath, your smell is very bad. It's not that Yunwu can't stand the smell of blood, but that the smell of blood on Long Qingxie's body is really too fishy. It feels like rotten smelly sea fish. It's a disgusting smell. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, nod, but the hands subconsciously stretch out, want toward her shoulder to hook up. Your hands? Cloud Dance pick eyebrow of look at him. Long Qingxie's hand was stiff in the air. Alright. It's natural for him to be careless with her, which makes him feel like he is instinctive. However, Long Qingxie grinned. I'm used to it. Okay, try to be restrained for your husband before you get rid of yourself. The clouds danced in silence for a while. But he turned his head and glanced at the many disciples of the Beast Gate who were still frozen in the square. What are you going to do with them? Long Qingxie took a look along the line of cloud dance. Just a glance made those disciples' faces slightly changed, their feet trembled, and they almost didn't kneel down. Tu Young Xia, please forgive me. We are all human beings. Yes, we are all human beings. We are all forced to be disciples of the 10,000 Beast sect. Don't kill us. We haven't been brutalized yet. We are really human. One after another, begging for mercy suddenly rang out in this square. It's no wonder that Songen was so disappointed with today's Beast Gate. If you look at the scene in front of you, you can imagine. However, those begging for mercy did not get the sympathy of Dragon Qingxie or even Cloud Dance. Maybe these two people are cold-blooded people. Or maybe it's because they can see through a lot of things and live in peace of mind. What do you suggest? Long Qingxie asked. Do whatever you decide, I don't mind. Cloud danced directly back to the road. Well, the Shangguans deal with me, just let me destroy this place. Who has the ability to escape, even if he should not die? If he has no ability, he will destroy it together. Anyway, the Shangguan only let him destroy the place. As for people, he can't control them. He is neither a good man nor a villain. As long as he is not in the way of destruction, he will not care about the good or bad of others. Believe, that little woman, is the same kind of person with him. Then do it. Yunwu agrees. The array in mid-air has been fully opened. As long as he combines his fingerprints and starts the destruction array, this place will no longer exist. Of course, he is not suicidal. Naturally, he has to go out with little things. It's just that Long Qingxie wants to take Yunwu away. A red girl's figure flies from the back mountain. When I saw the disciples gathered in the square, the red girl's fierce voice came from afar. I said, why are all the people gone? It turns out that they are all here. Are they also here? You don't have to go out to look for it. I've got the escape test object back. I'm locked up in the back mountain cell. I heard it. Dragon Qing Evil and Cloud Dance, all lifted eyes of Dynasty that red dress girl to see past. After landing, the girl in red's eyes, the first swept to the dragon with blood-stained clothes, and then a Cloud Dance dressed as an ordinary teenager. It's very eye-catching. Not long after she went out, did she join a new member of the sect? But before the girl in red asked, the corner of her eye swept to the other side of the corpse. Finally, when the corpse was cut in half, two elders. The pupil of the girl in red widens and shrinks. What's going on? At this moment, the girl in red seems to have noticed something wrong, and the crisis in her heart rises. Who are you? When Yunwu saw the girl in red, she felt familiar at first sight. At first, the Cloud Dance didn't think of anyone else, until the girl in red showed an angry expression. Do you think she looks like Yao Kaji? Cloud Dance slants ahead, saw an eye. The man nearby asked a sentence. Long Qingxia's mouth was like a smile, but not a smile. Cloud Dance pick eyebrow. It seems that Yao Kaji tried every means to come to rescue her, but she had a good life. From the girl in red, Cloud Dance and Dragon can feel the smell of Warcraft in her body. You don't have to look at it. You know it's been brutalized. The girl in red, when hearing their conversation, her eyes flashed a trace of anger. Who are you in the end? Yunwu and Longqing will not answer her naturally. The girl in red, who didn't wait to answer for a long time, was a little annoyed. You dare to break into our beast gate. I'm really impatient. At the end of the speech, he turned his head and said angrily to the disciples in the square, What are you doing? Don't you catch these two intruders? Do you want the elder to punish you in person? These disciples belong to the periphery. Most of them have not been transformed into animals or have not been successfully transformed into animals. In her eyes, identity is lower than her. Therefore, when he commanded these words, he was somewhat arrogant and arrogant. If at ordinary times, which of these people dare to disobey, but now many of the disciples on the scene, just under her angry voice, suddenly turned over. As soon as her face changed, the birds didn't even see her. She followed a group of loose sand and immediately turned around and ran away. They can hear the dialogue between Yunwu and Long Qingxie just now. At this time, who is going to kill her? It's important to run for her life. Hey, you want to die, don't you? The girl in red looked at the disciples who scattered in a crowd and stamped her feet in the same place. Looking at these cloud dances and dragons' evil spirits all the time, there is a sneer on the corner of his mouth. The girl in red felt humiliated. She turned her head and stared at Yunwu and Longqing. I'm asking you, who are you? If you still don't say who you are, don't blame me for being rude to you. You're welcome? Sometimes, Yunwu really doesn't know how to appreciate the ignorance of these girls. Still naive. At this moment of the scene, plus the 3 bodies on the ground, we should not add the big elder who has become gray. We should also know that something is wrong. Hide when it's time. At this time, she still, silly, wanna be rude to them? However, also did not wait for Cloud Dance and Dragon to pour evil mouth. Suddenly, back mountain comes out what explosion sound. When I looked up, I saw a burst of black smoke rising in the direction of the back mountain. When the girl in red saw this, her face was ugly. Damn it, it must be that stinky thing again. See, that young girl breaks to read a voice to still not fall, spread many Warcraft of roar. Roar. Ouch. Ho. Wang wang. That roar can be really mixed very, but also vaguely heard through a kind of liberated roar. Smoke and dust rolling, a burst of random running sound, soon from the mountain. Not for a moment. See a little fat figure, sitting like a dog is not a dog of Warcraft, gallop riding. Mama. All the way, the excitement and shouts came from Yunwu. When Yunwu heard the voice change, looked over and saw the little stink, he was in a burst of tears and laughter who told her what was going on. The girl in red looked at the little stink who was riding her tame beast and headed at the front. Her angry face was gloomy. It's really you who make the noise. If I don't clean you up today, I won't call Yao Xen. Yao Xen roared down. Slender hands, sharp claws suddenly burst out, extremely ferocious. Yao Xen's eyes were overcast, her feet stood on tiptoe, and her body leaped up. As soon as the cold light flashed by, it quickly fell to the little stink. That posture, there is a rhythm of trying to kill the little stink. And Yao Xen did think that way. Originally, she wanted to bring it back. Fortunately, she would take the lead in front of the elder. In that way, she would have a more important position in the family of beasts. But where to think of it all the way to her trouble even if. Today, back to the beast gate, it even released the Warcraft in the cell, which is really not a small matter. If you let the elder know, she will be punished, not to mention her first success. Instead of letting the elder punish her, she might as well kill the little monster first. By the way, in front of these 2 people who don't know where to come out, give them a good awe. Small stink riding behind the Warcraft, straight to the clouds. But looking at the Qing Yaojin, who was killed suddenly in midair, he was also a little angry, and his canthus began to crack his ferocious teeth. It's a posture of biting you to death if you dare to get close to it. However, it is also at that moment. A figure in a flash, in that Yao Xen beast claw mercilessly waved down that moment. A cold light swept away. Chang. 5 sharp claws, cut off directly. Immediately, a strong breath hit Yao Xen's body directly. Ah! After the painful sound, I heard a body thump. Yao Xen is impartial, just hit in the pile, was just black Nyang his eat broken blood on the body. However, this still let Yao Xen recognize, the corpse of this rotten meat on the ground, unexpectedly is the 3 elder of 10,000 beast door. 3 elders? 3 elders? The other one is the 2nd elder. What about the other one? Is it the elder? But the clothes don't look like it. It's like the leader. It can't be. It can't be true. It's all the elders. They are so powerful. Who has the ability to kill them? What's more, the leader when Yao Xen forgot the pain of his claw being cut off and couldn't believe staring at the meat stall underground. Small stink a long time ago a fly pounce, small fat body wrapped around the neck of Cloud Dance. Mama, mama, I miss you so much, mama. Small stink that call a very excited, nose even smell, mouth even kiss. Almost to Cloud that a black hair, to baptism a turn. Cloud Dance forehead under the black line, just want to reach out to the small stink to catch down. however, has been the first step of the agency. Long Qingxia grabs the strange thing of the woman who kisses him in disorder and pulls it directly away from Yunwu. His dark eyes squint slightly and stare at it coldly. What the hell is this? Cloud Dance sighed, already have that food-greedy flower? When, again run to such a person not beast thing? Call her mama? What do you call it? How to make him feel so uncomfortable. Little Stinky can't find Yunwu easily, and can't get close to her well. But before he rubs twice, he is dragged away again. I'm really angry. Bares the tooth to expose that sharp ferocious tooth directly, angrily stares at the dragon to pour evil, sends out, woo, like angry sound. Angry like molar mouth, you stinky man, you are the ghost thing, let me go, I want numbness. Smelly man? This little fat monster, who learned this tone from? How to make him so unpleasant? Long Qingxia has no other hobby, but he especially likes to compete with the people who rob his women, even if he is a little monster with no man, no beast in front of him. She's mine, you little monster. You'd better be nice to me or I'll smoke you. Dragon Qing evil black eye danger am I, half threat low voice says toward it. Small stink like to learn, also squinted its big cute eyes, molar way. Hemp is mine, stinky man, you don't let go, I will eat you. Threatening people who won't. At the beginning, it had been under the mysterious old man's eyelids for so long, and it was threatened by the smelly traceless for thousands of times. It was also angry, ate up their things and blew their beards. This little smelly man dares to compete with it and dream. With that, Xiao Smelly waved his fat hands and showed his sharp claws fiercely, trying to shake away the big hands that were pulling his feathers behind him. But the dragon lifted his hand and lifted it up. Rao is to let its short fat hand hook not to, let the small stink smell face red. The evil spirit of the dragon's mouth was smiling, but he said in a cold voice, with your little baby teeth? You want to eat me? Believe it or not, I'll take out your little teeth and make you a soup? At the same time, the dragon's body unconsciously sent out a strong and arrogant, which was not strict and powerful. This man is not in the pool. But what about this little stink? Is it an ordinary little monster? I don't know if it's a man who suddenly has a sharp and powerful change in his aura, or how to drop it. Just now also learning the ferocious expression of the small stink, in the man that cold threat line of sight. All of a sudden, the body trembled, big sprout eyes suddenly water mist filled up. Then, his mouth flattened like 1,000 grievances. You bully me. What, want to play pity with him? Long Qingxia glanced at it and swept it with white eyes. If he didn't eat this, he said coldly, what's the matter with bullying you? However, 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops at that moment, the water mist filled the eyes of damning, and the tears poured out like rain wine, cry out loud in an instant, it's like heartrending. Woo-woo I want ma woo-woo. Dragon Qing evil mouth corner fiercely drew a few, almost, can't help but want to strangle this small monster in the hand. This guy, it's the attention. Little Stinky's fat claws, instead of being just fierce, were pitiful. They danced to the clouds, with tears in their eyes and big eyes staring at her. Yunwu, originally standing on one side and watching them make trouble, was also happy to watch the play. Can suddenly this cry, with that pair of watery eyes, I do not know how, some soft-hearted. Well, this egg is hatched by her. It's so pathetic. Even if you know that it may be intentional, it's still a little soft-hearted. In desperation, Yunwu reaches out her hand and wants to hold back the little stink from Longqingxi. Well, give it to me. Woo-woo mama. Little stinky heart happy. Long Qingxia's face turned black, his hand raised, and he threw the poor little fat man in his hand into the large group of Warcraft running around. Long Qingxia. Cloud Dance screams, and subconsciously wants to follow it. But as soon as her foot moved, a big hand grabbed her wrist. A force pull directly pulled her into the man's tall and strong arms. I say you are a little thing. When I'm not with you, you usually provoke some rotten peach blossom. Now you are with your husband, but you still provoke such a little monster. Do you want to annoy me? Long Qingxia's deep voice is full of jealousy and helplessness, and some gnashing of teeth. In particular, he could feel that Yunwoo didn't dislike the touch of the little monster at all, and even liked it. This point, but even Hongling does not exist, let alone him. How can he not be a little jealous? Cloud dance for men this unreasonable jealous behavior, some gas hold back. Fortunately, seeing that the little stink was thrown directly on the top of the bear's head without being trampled by the herd, I was a little relieved. But, after a while, little stink was taken by the big bear and ran straight away. Cloud Dance turned his head and glanced at the man beside him. I said, "You are a big man, can you not be so naive? It is the descendant of Phoenix, the divine beast. I took it away by accident at the beginning and made a contract with me without any reason. It became my fire contract beast. Moreover, I hatched it out. It was its instinct to be intimate with me. Can you come on, let's go. Let's get out of here first." Yunwoo originally wanted to say more, but think about it, this place is not a good place to explain. Just, after going out this time, she planned to talk to this man well, don't be so domineering, at least, make the situation clear. With that, Yunwoo wanted to chase the little stink, so as not to be taken by the big bear. You know, now this place is the base of the Beast Gate, who knows where it will be, and what is the forbidden area of the dead. If you are not careful, you may not even have any slag. After Long Qingxia heard the words, he was really surprised. That little monster is the descendant of Phoenix? It doesn't look like it. However, the little monster was hatched by Yunwoo and became her contract beast. It is understandable that the relationship between the two can be so intimate. Of course, Long Qingxia's understanding is literal. If he still kisses in front of him, he will make another humiliating move in the air. Long Qingxia still holds her hand and says, "Don't worry. Since it is the descendant of Phoenix, those ordinary warcraft can't hurt it. Moreover, it can find you all the way here. How can this place trap it?" It's also like verifying the words of the dragon. As soon as he had finished his words, the big bear, who had just run away, was carrying the little ancestor, like stink, and then turned back to the clouds. However, this time, it was not the scattered warcraft, but a group of young boys and girls supporting each other. There were still a lot of them. Ma. What's going on? Cloud Dance looking at which men and women, eyebrows slightly wrinkled. Because all of them were shabby and dirty. Some of them even had not taken a bath for several years. They were covered with layers of mud. However, it soon occurred to me that these might be the human beings captured and imprisoned by the Beast Gate. In addition, there are some warcraft, also followed by these people. After a while, a large group of young boys and girls and some more advanced warcraft gathered in the square. "My lord, help us. Help us, this place is the devil's lair, please take us out together. Please help us." Under the excited cry of Xiao Chou to Yunwoo, the people who followed immediately understood that the only straw they had was the two people in front of them. Because that little stink, that tooth is bad, they have all seen it. Not long ago, it was that little stink, one mouthful in a cell, who swallowed his stomach like a steamed bun with an iron lock, and rescued them all. These two people are its masters, which must be more capable. However, at the moment when these people were begging for mercy, a sharp and gloomy voice came. "Want to escape? It's just a dream. From the moment you step into the Beast Gate, don't think you can escape safely." When Yao Xian got up from the ground, she had already rejected the previous idea in her heart. The two corpses in front of me can't be the three elders and the headmaster. It must be these two people who want to pretend to be fooling people in the Beast Gate. Before those outside disciples were fooled, she would not. As long as she can delay these two hateful boys until the elder comes back, or other helpers come back, won't her skill take the lead? This idea together, Yao Xian eyes greedy flash, that arrogant base, instantaneous full up. Get up, just cut off the claw, is rapid growth and recovery. However, compared with just now, there was something different at this time. The color in her eyes began to change gradually. The pupils were dilated, gloomy and green. Originally pretty features, some twisted, mouth gradually exposed sharp tusks, thin back, some bulging, arms began to thick. This is the image of the wolf beast? It's very ugly for a pretty girl to look like this. Long Qingxia looked at the process of Yao Xian's animal transformation, tut-tut, and came close to Yunwu. Look, you're kind enough to let her go, but she doesn't appreciate it. It turns out that Yunwu did show mercy to her just now. If you put it in the past, Yunwu will die if you don't do it. When did you feel pity? Even began to his opponent, and a trace of mercy? In fact, benevolent compassion is a fatal weakness for a professional killer. Smell speech, Cloud danced in good spirit of stare him, he talk much. What do you want? Kill us? Cloud dance raises the Mao of C to that Yao Xian, rare much effort the rhetorical question of a tongue. Yao Xian didn't really see the strength of Cloud dance. Seeing the appearance of her weak little man at this time, she thought that her ability was certainly not big. Even if she has some skills, it is definitely inferior to her. You know, she's just going to be shot because she hasn't transformed into real strength. Now, she's completely transformed into real strength. Now, if she wants to kill him, one move is enough. Yao Xian's inflated self-confidence made him haughty and sniff like a cloud. I hate to kill you, but since you come to me, I will let you never come back. Take it. Under the arrogant cheers, Yao Xian's body suddenly arched up, and the moment of a little bit of ground on her toes, she rushed to the clouds. That's very fast. Sharp claws, brush split through the air. The cloud dance sees this. The corner of the mouth coldly outlines a touch of radian, the body shape does not have any flash. Hua brush dash, the sharp claws cut across and 5 claws fell down. Yao Xian looked at the cloud dance, which was split by her claws without moving. She was rather ferocious, and her face raised a smile of satisfaction. I thought how powerful it was. Look, I'm not so scared that I can't even flash. But this pride didn't last 3 seconds. All of a sudden, the smile was completely stiff on his face, and the pride in his eyes was instantly replaced by the color of consternation. There was no sense of reality, no blood. Even, the figure in front of me began to be transparent quickly, and finally disappeared. Shadow? Is it remnant shadow? How is that possible? She is now, but in the middle of the 6th stage, still the strength of the wind attribute. How can this boy leave only a shadow in front of her? And she didn't notice? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Yao Xian's eyes full of amazement can't believe, with that moment of Zhengleng, but doomed the end of her life. Shua! There was a flash of silver. Poof! Yao Xian's neck is thick and strong because of the animal, with a blood mouth wide open and a plasma jet straight out. Cloud dance figure also at that moment, appeared in her right side. Opportunities have been given to you, and that's your choice. Cloud dance's eyes just coldly glanced at Yao Xian, then disdained to see more. Since for the first time, Yunwu has been lenient to her for the sake of being a victim. Then this second time, she wanted their lives, so she left her life. It's not that people who are brutalized don't have their own thinking and wisdom, but they depend on themselves. It's obvious that Yao Xian's character is not very good. Therefore, Yunwu is very kind to her. Dragon Qingxia looks at this scene, seems to be very satisfied, deep black eyes brush a bloodthirsty smile. And the little stink sitting on the top of the big bear's head clapped his fat paws with cheers, very excited and happy. To that smelly woman, it wanted to kill her for a long time. Yao Xian, who was incredulous in his eyes, was gradually replaced by fright. He wanted to turn his head and look at Yunwu, but the plasma on his neck spurted more quickly. I want to say something, but all the voices are stuck in the throat. To death, I'm afraid they are still unwilling to think. It's impossible. How could she be killed by an ordinary human? Besides, I haven't even seen what the weapon is, so, when she fell down and died, her eyes were still wide open. I don't want to die. Good. Well done. Gong, you are very powerful. This kind of devil kills well. At this time, but a burst of cheers suddenly sounded. At this time, the men and women in the square were like beating chicken blood, as if they saw an exciting scene. Their eyes were burning and excited looking at the clouds. Cloud dance looks at the men and women on the field, looks at their adoration and excited eyes, and is not used to dealing with this kind of scene. can't help but frown, turn head, ready to let Dragon Qing Evil see how to deal with. But just then, Poof Yunwu's face changed and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Almost at the same second, Long Qingxia's face changed dramatically, and his roar raised, "Asshole." Little Stink also felt something. It was in that second that he bared his teeth and roared, "Numb roar." See, don't know when a thick and bloody tongue-like thing unexpectedly from Cloud Dance's abdomen position through and pass. Reaction? No, not to mention that Yunwu didn't notice the reaction, even Dragon Qingxia didn't feel any crisis before. Looking in the direction of the scarlet tongue, it turned out that the tongue came from one of the crowd not far away. Yao Keji? No, it's totally different from the scholar-like image we saw before. At this time, Yao Keji, with a gloomy and violent atmosphere, was extremely obvious. His eyes are very strange. They are thick and circular with two protruding eyes. What attacked the clouds was the scarlet tongue extending from his mouth. How could he be a beast? However, how could he not even find his attack with the strength of dragon? What the hell is going on? At the moment when Dragon Qingxia roared, the ape came out and fell down to the tongue. At the moment when Yunwu fell to her knees, she hugged her tightly. Her eyes were red with blood and her heart was burning. She asked, "Little thing? Little thing, how are you? How do you feel?" Xiaoqiu, at the moment when he roared out, his eyes turned into scarlet and weird for the first time. He bared his teeth, waved his claws and rushed to Yao Keji. Yunwu's face turned white because of the pain. Take out that thing." The sticky saliva of the tongue should be toxic, which makes her feel that the body is penetrated with pain, and there is also the sharp pain of toxic corrosion. Long Qing Evil smell speech, where dare to have the slightest hesitation. "Bear it, little thing." One hand pressed her abdomen, the other hand quickly pulled out the tongue that still ran through her abdomen. Poof, at the moment of drawing out, a burst of black blood came out. Cloud Dance pain almost in front of a black faint in the past, can only bite the lower lip, endure the attack of vertigo. The extracted blood also splashed the blood on Long Qingxia's face. At the same time, he was so scared that he turned pale and felt that his heart had stopped. For the first time, he was extremely afraid and remorseful. If he could pay more attention, maybe he would not. However, the dragon didn't stop. After pulling out his tongue, he wiped the blade of his ape with his palm. With his own blood, tightly pressed in her black blood hole of the abdomen. "Little thing, it's okay. It's okay. You can bear it. It's okay soon. It's okay soon." Dragon Qing Evil tightly hugs Cloud Dance, flustered like constantly chanting. However, from his red eyes, we can see that he is flustered, anxious, worried, afraid. Yunwu really felt pain, especially when the man's hand pressed her abdomen. A strange drill pain, otherwise hit her, almost made her faint. After taking a few deep breaths, Yunwu vomited out 5 words, "Hold, hold open." She felt that once the blood on his hand touched the hole in her abdomen, it was like being bitten by innumerable mice, or by innumerable snakes in her stomach. She was almost as miserable as she could bear. On hearing this, Long Qingxia quickly released the hand that wanted to heal her with blood and asked, "What's the matter? It's hard, isn't it?" At this time, the dragon was a little flustered. Yunwu was biting her gums until she could hold back the pain. She couldn't help but put her hand over her abdomen, but at the moment when her hand touched her abdomen, she seemed to feel clearly that there was something surging in her body. Now, she is not happy to feel what it is. However, the one that can move in her abdomen is probably the mysterious branch that has been rooted in her elixir. It's just the branch. What happened to her? Yunwu no longer knows. At this time, she can only instinctively feel that if she doesn't think of a way, maybe this situation will kill her. Help me sit up." Cloud Dance Chi Week said a sentence. Long Qingxia quickly and carefully helped her to sit up. "Little thing, what do you think? What else do you want me to do?" His blood, coupled with his strength, has a healing effect that ordinary people can't understand. However, just Cloud Dance reaction with her wound and did not heal. It seems that it is not much use. This has also let Long Qingxia extremely anxious worry. Even his blood can't heal her, so, I want to have a rest. During this period, don't let anyone hit or disturb me. Cloud Dance's face is pale, looking at Dragon to pour evil seriously. In her eyes, Long Qingxie's originally flustered mood seemed to gradually calm down. To her, good. Unexpectedly, she said that no one should disturb her, so he would guard her and remove all the obstacles that could disturb her. All of you, after holding Cloud Dance's original sight and sitting up, Long Qingxie's tall figure slowly stood up. However, at the moment when he stood up, the temperature in the air seemed to be frozen by some powerful killing intention. That pair of deep black eyes has completely transformed into a golden, killer golden light. Yao Keji. As early as that moment when I saw Yao Keji being a beast, all the men and women who had gathered around were scared and then retreated to the distance. Looking at the big fight and the small fight. Small stink, round eyes, at this time is that strange scarlet, extremely vicious. And that sharp tusk, seizing the opportunity, bites at Yao Keji. At this time, his mouth is covered with flesh and blood. Yao Keji was very angry when he saw his daughter killed. Under the attack of Little Stink, his sharp claws also tugged at the little monster pestering him. Just how Renru wants to throw it away, how he wants to tear it apart with his claws. But they all ended in failure. Not to mention its teeth and gripping skills, its fat tender flesh is invulnerable. His paw grasps on it as if grasps on the steel, rattles, but does not harm it. On the contrary, he was extremely embarrassed by his teeth. If you dare to hurt me, I'll bite you to death. Xiao Smelly was very angry. In the roar, his sharp and ferocious teeth were still grinding. If it was not for its small size and weak claws, it would have broken the man to pieces long ago. Yao Keji is an adult after all. He has just been successfully transformed into a beast. He is full of anger and has no place to vent his anger. In Can't Hurt Small Stink all the time at the moment, anger of a ruthless pullet, backhand fiercely fell to the ground. But just then a cold air came. Little Stink was caught by a big hand at the moment when he fell to the ground. After that, he threw it to the other side, all the way to Warcraft's back. Yao Keji. If you don't have a cold voice, you'll have a little emotion. Long Qingxie's tall figure, I don't know when, has stood in front of Yao Keji. When Yao Keji saw the dragon in front of him, his pupils suddenly shrank. But immediately, the fundus of the eye fierce set off. Dragon 4, you kill my daughter, I want you to pay for their lives. Just now his long tongue was cut short. At this time, when Yao Keji spoke, there was a trace of strangeness. Is it? Dragon Qing evil thin lips slightly young, the whole gas field is extremely cold. That's to see if you have that life to ask for. At the end of the speech, the hand turned, the épée was released, and the air of killing was lifted in the air. Anyone who dares to touch his woman will die. Long Qingxie's golden eyes are tinged with a trace of bloodthirsty red silk. They are extremely cold, too. There was no wind in the air, as if there was a whistling wind. The épée attacked Yao Keji with extreme speed. For a moment, Yao Keji's strange eyes shrank, but he didn't see a panic on his face. It's the next second. The épée falls, the attack falls. Disappeared? How is that possible? Long Qingxie's golden pupil narrowed his eyes and brushed a touch of surprise at the bottom of his eyes. Yao Keji, who was originally in front of Long Qingxie, disappeared quietly under his eyelids? Is almost as like as 2 peas before Yao Xen. The only difference is that Cloud Dance is very fast, giving people the illusion of disappearing in situ and leaving a residual shadow. At this time, Yao Keji really disappeared. For the first time, Long Qingxie was on guard. He stepped back to the side of Yunwu's body and swept around. No breath at all? What's going on? With Yao Keji's ability, it's impossible for him to have such strength that he can't even find out. In the Long Qing evil cold kill squint, looking for that Yao Keji figure. The Cloud Dance sitting on the ground with eyes closed finally opens its eyes. But, in that pair of black eyes in the moment of opening eyes, the pupil in a moment into purple. He's in front of you on the left. His ability is chameleon. It should be the beast of chameleon. Don't use your eyes to see, use your spiritual power to feel. Cloud Dance Breathweek said. Under the purple pupil, Yao Keji's hiding is the same as not hiding. Chameleon, when in danger, will change its color according to the surrounding environment to hide itself, rather than really disappear. Yao Keji, who is hiding and does not move, changes his face when he hears Yunwu's words. How could he know his ability? Damn it. It seems that the boy is his biggest enemy. Yao Keji's eyes are full of killing intention. Before Long Qingxie starts, his figure comes first. He's ready to take a move to solve Yunwu now. Bang! Claws firmly grasp the épée, setting off a spark. The hidden figure also appeared in front of people at this moment. Yao Keji takes back his hand in pain and stares at Long Qingxie angrily. He killed my daughter. I must take revenge for her. Get out of the way or I will kill you. Long Qingxie was not ready to waste saliva with him. As soon as his figure appeared, the épée in his hand had been cut down. Yao Keji fled in a panic. At that moment his figure hit again. However, compared with just confused at this time, Dragon Qingxie did not panic at all. Instead, he compared his eyes on the spot. Take the sense as the eye, the spirit as the touch soon. Found out. The dragon is full of blood. With sword as the main part and fighting spirit as the main part, a strong breath is like a net in heaven and earth, attacking a certain position fiercely. Yao Keji's eyes full of horror and unwilling will be fixed on the twisted expression of fear. Cloud Dance in just purple pupil eye flash out, to dragon pour evil remind. In front of a black, consciousness seems to be in an instant, what to be sucked in. When she woke up, she found that she was already in the space full of white fog. That is, in the open space outside the Hall of Chaos. However, at this time, there was a man with a big beard and a dignified face, who was staring at her. It's like she owes him $8 million. Big beard? Isn't that big beard turned into a big stone statue? While Yunwu was wondering, she got up from the ground and looked at the real man's big beard. What's going on? She remembers that she seemed to be pierced in her abdomen by Yao Keji, and then, you are the master of Chaos Hall. Now the gate of Chaos Hall is suddenly closed. Don't you care? Mustache's dignified voice was tinged with discontent. Smell speech, Cloud Dance frown, feel some depressed in the heart. Why didn't she care? How many times did she come in and knock? It's just about the door. It's just that the closed door doesn't mean that it's loose or open at all. What's more, she didn't know what happened. How did the gate of Chaos Hall close? No one told her what had happened. She was confused. Big Beard, what's going on? Cloud Dance asks toward Big Beard. Now, he is the only one she can ask. Big Beard's smell speech, that pair of yen sharp Mao Sun Ali, full face beard, the facial expression is difficult, seemed to sink for a while. You up to now really don't know? She knew, still need to ask him? Isn't this mustache talking nonsense? However, I have been in touch with this Big Beard several times, and I know his temper. Cloud Dance also nodded, a pair of Consort-like mouth. Also please give me some advice. The beard stared at her for a long time before he said coldly, the gate of Chaos Hall is closed. Generally you have violated the bottom line of Chaos Hall, otherwise, this will not happen. The bottom line? What is it? Cloud Dance heard, immediately on the forehead out of countless question marks. Bearded seemed to have guessed that her face was confused. On her face full of stubble, it was the solemn coolness. You have released the Black Pride imprisoned in the Chaotic Palace without authorization many times. Don't you know what's wrong? Black Pride? Cloud Dance eyebrow instantly a wrinkly, immediately, seemed to think of what, looked to Big Beard. Did you do to Black AO? Big Beard stared at Yunwu for a long time. I'm just a guard general. What can I do to it? However, don't blame me for not warning you. If you don't reopen the door of Chaos Hall within the specified time, you will be disqualified as the owner of Chaos Hall. With these words, Bearded did not seem to be ready to say anything to her. He turned back to the gate and turned into a stone statue. Cloud Dance looked at him, for a moment, some sign lung in situ. It never occurred to her that the situation was so serious. Was the identity of the owner of Chaos Hall cancelled? Is it because she let out the black pride? However, she was the master of Chaos Hall. Didn't she even have the power to control it? So she's still the master of some bullshit? Looking at the closed door, for the first time, Yunwoo felt depressed. However, at this time, suddenly, a sharp pull-like pain suddenly hit her consciousness. See, Cloud Dance hasn't had time to respond to what's going on. As soon as it's dark, it's almost fainted by the sudden pain. It hurts. The pain was like being stabbed by thousands of needles on every meridian of her body at the same time. The pain was so severe that Yunwoo couldn't bear to be handsome. He fell to the ground and gritted his teeth. And at that moment, I saw that the whole white fog space in front of me seemed to change in an instant. The white fog that had been all around seemed to be suddenly contaminated by fuel. Little by little, it began to turn green. Even the ground above was gradually replaced by little green. And while the Cloud Dance was suffering, the ground-like green pigment began to sprout countless green buds bit by bit. Around the white fog began to float above, that originally floating in mid-air with the original fire, just like the sun hanging high in the sky, began to shine and heat up. Over the green sky, it was gradually reflected bright. Everything seems to be changing rapidly at this moment. When everything in this space stops changing, the scene in front of us, like a scene, is pushed away from the clouds to see the blue sky. The sun is bright, the sky is white, the grass is green, the grass is oily, and the tower is simple and solemn. Beautiful. Very beautiful. It's a wonderful sight. However, the Cloud Dance was almost fainted by the pain in front of it. Outside. But also in this strange scene, see, Cloud Dance that was through the blood hole of the abdomen, at this time is being out of countless green willows, a little bit of wrapping up. After solving Yao Keji's long Qingxie, he anxiously looks at the suddenly changing Cloud Dance. I wanted to use the power of darkness in his body to suppress the excessive power of life in her body, just like last time. But this time, as soon as he got close, he was thrown away by an inexplicable force. Little thing, what's going on? The worry in the golden pupil couldn't be concealed, but he remembered that she said, "Don't let anyone disturb her." Therefore, Long Qingxie first sent out those men and women with a ray, including those warcraft scattered in the square. All of a sudden, on the Jingkong square, only the Cloud Dance sitting on the ground, the dragon poor evil, and the little Stink who refused to go out. What happened to Mama? Small Stink squatted in front of Cloud Dance. Round Big Eyes have recovered, at this time is very worried staring at Cloud Dance. Dragon Qing evil guard posture, standing on one side, not a bit lax. If you want to stay here, shut up. The voice was cold. At this time, his face no longer half of the silk of the joke, it seems all over the body is that cold gas. Small Stink smell speech, small mouth a flat, big eyes watery flashing. However, it also seems to feel the pain of Cloud Dance at this time, waving a little fat claw, want to rub her face, but in the end, still hold back. Nothing to say, just like that, quietly sitting, quietly watching the clouds. How long have you been suffering from that pain? Yunwoo didn't know. She just felt as if she had fallen into a dark whirlpool. In that whirlpool, she saw a lot of things or a lot of memories of previous lives. Abduction, special training, mutual fighting, disfigurement, betrayal, heartbreak, every scene, just like a movie, played back in her mind. However, this time the mood of Cloud Dance is unusually calm. It's like the anger, resentment and pain she had hidden in her heart before. All and do not know when, have disappeared in general. At this time, her heart is very calm. But calm down in, actually flashed a figure in the brain, indistinctly, as if also heard his voice. Dragons evil? I don't know why, the bottom of my heart, suddenly a trace of palpitation, a difficult to use words to describe the feelings surged into my heart. Because of that throb, that feeling. It makes her feel that the darkness around her is not so cold, so dark, so quiet, little thing. Ear, the man that listened to anxious call sound, a more and more clear than a sound. Mama. It's a cry. Master. Hongling's rough voice. Originally, Yunwoo was still enjoying the peace in the dark, but at this moment, he found something wrong. Why is she here? She's not at the moment when Yunwoo wakes up and finds something wrong. Everything seems to break through the darkness. And this also let her see clearly what's the matter in the end. Damn it. Her soul out of the body? I saw that on the ground, the smell of cloud dance had broken, and the green willow wrapped around her body seemed to wither in an instant. Long Qingxia's eyes were red and congested, and he was holding her tightly, shouting at her like a roar. Little Stinky, with Hongling who didn't know when she appeared, was lying beside her, crying floating in the air of the clouds. Some can't believe looking at the scene below. She wants to go back, but the soul seems to be given something. I can't move. Did she really die like this? How is that possible? The last time she was dead, her body was broken, and she didn't live as if nothing had happened. This time, just such a little injury really killed her? No way, she won't. Unexpectedly, your soul is a woman. At this time, a sudden but some lonely gentle voice came. The sudden sound makes the clouds dance. He turned his head and looked at the sound. When you see the figure from the void, Cloud Dance's eyes suddenly squint. Sublime? White face, a pair of sharp two-color pupil, a gorgeous emerald robe. In addition to the previous sudden disappearance of the noble, no one else. It's just, how did he, by the way? Long Qingxia said that he was, you've been watching. Looking at the sublime that came out, when Yunwoo said it, the tone was affirmative. Gao Sheng's white face raised slightly, but his eyes were strange and sharp. This place was my jurisdiction, but I decided to destroy it. Naturally, I want to see it with my own eyes. I don't know if it's because Cloud Dance is the soul at this time. When Gao Sheng talks about this, he doesn't hide anything. Yunwoo was a little surprised. The jurisdiction he created? Although, Long Qingxia secretly told him that this noble may be the former leader, and his identity is not simple. But, unexpectedly, he was the one who created the Beast Gate? But it is said that the Beast Gate has been established for thousands of years. If he created the Beast Gate, how old is the man? Like a jade-faced young man, it seems that he guessed what Yunwoo thought, and said with a lofty smile, I have lived for thousands of years, but I died for some reasons more than 10 years ago. Otherwise, how can you see me now? That Cloud Dance alung but immediately frown. Before that, how could you let me talk to the dragon? Can he see you? For this point, Chong'an does not seem to want to answer. After Yunwoo asked, nothing happened. Until his strange eyes swept around her, he said with interest, Girl, the breath of your soul is different from other people's. Where do you come from? Does the soul body also have breath? The cloud dances to smell speech, the Mao sun tiny mi, the eye ground raised a silk vigilance. This alien person and thing are not good stubble. Who knows? This Chong'an is what heart. Don't be nervous. I won't eat you. I'm just curious. However, it's no wonder why I feel so hard when I enter your body to control you. Chong'an continued. It turns out that he controlled her body before? What is the purpose of Chong'an? You girl, the more I say, the more nervous you get. Don't be nervous. If I want to do something to you, I've done it early. Now, I'll chat with you while I still have some time. You know, since I hung up more than 10 years ago, I haven't found a person to chat with for a long time. It's very lonely and boring. With that, Chong'an's voice was really a little gloomy. However, Yunwoo frowned and didn't believe it. If you can appear in front of me and Dragon, can't you find someone to chat with? That's just some tricks I used when I was alive. It won't last long. Moreover, it's only 10 years. I'm so upset that I'm in the mood to chat with others. Cloud Dance listened to Chong'an said every sentence in reason like, but always feel there is not quite right. At this time, Chong'an looked at the ground. His eyes were bloody and ferocious. He was close to the crazy dragon. That man has a heart for you, but it's a pity that you and him are. Speaking of this, Chong'an's words came to a standstill as if he were playing tricks. What is it? Yunwoo frowned at him. Chong'an Siwen said with a smile, this is not good. Now it's broken. Later, you will naturally know that, well, after chatting with you for so long, I should go. However, in return, I will give you a message. After a pause, Chong'an stretched out his hand and pointed to the lower part of it. Since the necklace around your neck is a sacred thing of the witch clan, naturally, only with the purest efforts of the witch clan can the seal be untied again. The purest efforts of the witch people? She's a half-blood witch at most now. Is that why she can't untie the seal of Bai Lao? It's just, do you need to work hard? Girl, live well. If it's so easy to hang up, it's really nothing to look at. After Chong'an said this inexplicable sentence, the figure directly under Cloud's eyes turned into a layer of mist and disappeared instantly. Yunwu still has a lot of questions to ask, but there is no one to ask. Originally rigid, fixed in the mid-air of the soul body, but at this time, finally can play. She wanted to go down and return to the body of Yunwu, but no matter what she tried to do, her body was floating. Light just like a cloud, no weight at all. It feels like it's going to float away at any time. What to do? Are you really going to watch yourself hang up like this? Even when Yunwu was worried, the air that also opened this array suddenly jumped down 2 figures. Fix an eye to see, unexpectedly, is that South Palace follow up the superior officer. Dragon 4, what's the matter with you? Why haven't you destroyed this place yet? Shangguan was at one stop, so he quickly asked. But when I saw the situation clearly, I was scared by a flower on the ground and an inhuman thing. But when the sight saw the cloud dancing in the arms of Long Qingxie, he was stunned and asked, what happened to Xiaowu? How about? Before he finished speaking, he seemed to feel that the cloud dance had no breath. Shangguan's voice suddenly seemed to be cut off by something. When the dragon heard the sound, it seemed that the explosion switch had been touched, and his angry eyes swept away. At this time, his eyes were bloodshot and ferocious, and his whole body was cold and angry. Even if he was far away, he could clearly feel it. Shangguan shivered. An inexplicable murderous spirit of death poured into his heart. He didn't do anything. How could he make it look like he killed the little 5? However, at this time, Nangong stepped forward like an arrow, reaching out to touch Yunwu. Dragon Qing evil but a hand, resist, cold angry eyes staring at him. No one can touch her. Let go, let me see if her soul is still there. Nangong Yi's voice, which was always mild, was low. However, also didn't wait for the dragon to pour evil to move below. The hand of South Palace has already quickly probed to Cloud Dance wrist. In a few seconds, Nangong has released his hand. Standing up at the moment, he reached out and lifted the white dosha on his head. For the first time, he had no scruples in front of others and lifted the layer of veil on his head. I saw that under the dosha, he was as handsome and attractive as a god. The only surprise was that he had an eye on his forehead, like a blue pupil in the blue sky. One person has 3 eyes, which makes people feel strange. However, I have to say that his eye is really beautiful. Of course, at this moment, no one pays more attention to those. When Nangong lifted the veil, his eyes quickly swept around. Finally, in mid-air, the cloud dance position is locked. For the first time, Yunwu knew that Nangongji's 3rd eye could see the soul. No wonder. No wonder when she saw him for the first time, she had a strange feeling that her soul was seen through. After several meetings, she always felt as if she had been seen through by him. It turns out that this is not because he saw through her disguise, but how her appearance changes, but also cannot change the essence of the soul. In front of him, she is equal to the existence without any disguise. Nangongji, help me, I can't get down. At this time, the only one who can ask for help is Nangongji, who can see her. She didn't want to die, and she didn't want to die like this. Especially when she saw the man who was almost crazy for her, she was really reluctant. Nangong Yi's eye also flashed a quick color, but he didn't answer Yunwu. Turning around, he went to the side of Long Qingxie and said in a low voice, I'll lend you some blood. At the end of the speech, he didn't wait for Long Qingxie to do it himself. He didn't know where to take out a dagger, and then he crossed Long Qingxie's arm. Blood coming out of his arm. Nangong puts his hand on his blood, turns around, and then jumps to the clouds. Give me your hand. Cloud dance smell speech, quickly stretch out that looks some transparent hand. But when the hand with dragon's blood touched her soul. ZZ. Like the kind of ZZ sound when the meat is put on the hot iron plate, it rings in an instant. Intense soul body was burning pain, suddenly hit the cloud. Bear it, I'll take you back to your body. Nangongyi said, holding her hand. The figure quickly turned back. Long Qingxia's eyes were in scarlet state, and his whole body was in the haze of indignation. Can see the South Palace. Turn back, he instinctively hurriedly will be in the arms. The little woman's body lay flat. But Long Qingxia doesn't know. In other words, his mind has been blank. The action is in the instinctive reaction. All he knew was that Nangongyi was the son of the national teacher, so he must have something. As soon as Nangongyi landed, he quickly sent Yunwu's soul into the body. At the same time, the dagger also cuts his wrist. Nangongyi sends the blood from his wrist to Yunwu's pale lips. Pure blood has the effect of cleaning the body and fusing the soul. He knew that very well. It was also the first time he met her that he had seen something. Yunwu had no life body, suddenly a tremor. Ah! A sharp cry of pain, suddenly raised. Closed eyes suddenly opened, purple eyes suddenly burst out a strange beam, as if in that moment, the sky clouds surging fast, the earth also shocked. Then, I saw that the withered branches on her body, at the speed that can be seen with the naked eye, were rapidly changing back to bright green and growing rapidly. Looking at this scene, Nangongyi has retreated. However, when he retreated, he said to the dragon, "Your blood can heal her wound." When the dragon hears the evil, he moves quickly across the palm of his hand. The sharp pain of the whole body makes Yunwu return to the previous torture again. However, this time, she clenched her teeth to keep herself awake. She really tried to die before she knew that she had too many things to do and how unwilling she was to die like this. So, she has to get through, and she has to get through under the dragon's blood. Yunwu's abdominal wound healed quickly. However, the green willow growing from her abdomen is more and more vigorous and growing very fast. After a while, the whole person of Yunwu was wrapped up and became a cocoon shape. However, at this moment, it can make people feel clearly that she fell down and her breath recovered. Come alive. She's alive. This, far more than any news, makes Long Qingxia feel happy and joyful. It was also at this moment that the dragon felt that his heart was alive. Once upon a time, he would live and die for a woman? But what people don't know is that, in the sky, two figures are standing above the clouds, overlooking the scene below. When I saw Yunwu wrapped up in a cocoon by the strange willow vine, I was surprised. That girl it turns out that this girl is a member of the witch family. Almost at that moment, they both spoke at the same time, but only half of the words were spoken, and they both stopped. Turning around, they looked at each other. Half a ring. You and I are in the north-south irrelevant areas. Unexpectedly, after so many years, you old man broke the rules first and intruded into my territory. Lofty mouth slightly raised radian, that pair of strange eyes, at this time is a deep streamer. At this time, standing beside him was an old man with a long robe and white hair. It was the mysterious old man deep in the northern Warcraft forest. I wouldn't have come here if I didn't have to, but what's your relationship with that little girl? Just when Gao Gao talked with Yunwu, the mysterious old man had just arrived and was watching in the distance. Lofty smell speech, ha smile, repair old man, you this run to my territory up, but come to ask me and that wench's relation, this is not the reverse? Xiaolao's face was still calm and dignified. After looking at the sublime, there was an undercurrent in his dark eyes. He also said directly, the little girl intruded into my orchard and stole my 7 immortals. If she has nothing to do with you, I will take her back to my northern forest. 7 immortals? Sublime eyes in a flash across a bright color, however, very quickly but hidden down. Since you all say that this is my territory, then this girl can't be taken back by you. However, if you can give me some 7 immortal fruits to relieve my craving, it can be discussed. Sublime is serious. But let that repair old facial expression all instantly sink down. After so many years, you still want to hit me 7 fairy fruit? Gao Gao turned his head, glanced at Xiaolao, and said with a profound smile, don't forget, The real use of the 7 immortal fruits is only known to me. Even if you plant them, you can't really play them. It's better for you and me to cooperate? The elder's deep black eyes stared at Gao Sheng for a long time, and his face was restored to its former dignity. However, the voice but sink cold bottom voice of say. My answer, you should be very clear, cooperation need not mention, unexpectedly this girl is in your territory, then I'll wait for her out of your territory, I'll go to her again. The elder said, long sleeve a brush hand, body shape in a flash, twinkling of an eye out of the distance. Between 2 breaths, the old man disappeared. I have been watching the nobleness of the old man's departure, and this has restrained the smiling face just now. Sharp 2-color pupil, some deep look to the bottom, the green vine wrapped into a cocoon-like cloud. Girl, you can steal his 7 immortals under the old man's eyes. You really have the ability. However, it's really the first person to let that old man come to me in person. What's your secret? Just as the sublime murmured, all of a sudden, a strange breath suddenly rose in the air, as if it could wave all things in the world in an instant. The clouds surged rapidly, the dark clouds began to spread, the wind roared, and a rhythm of lightning and thunder followed. In addition, there was a tremor on the ground. It's like some small earthquakes in the beginning. It caused a lot of commotion and panic to Warcraft in the forest. What's going on? Sublime is also a lung, to this sudden situation, has a touch of unexpected. And soon, when a dazzling purple beam of light burst from the green vine cocoon on the ground, Sublime's eyes were really shocked. I thought that the girl was just a witch, but I didn't expect that she was still inside the palace. Queen Xuelio, summoned by the emperor, is now with some royal nobles, accompanying Zhou Batian to build a luxurious courtyard in the imperial garden, enjoying flowers and dancing. It's full of luxury. But I don't know when, in a certain direction of the sky, suddenly dark clouds, vaguely, it seems to hear the distant sound of thunder and lightning. However, depending on the situation, the heavy rain will not come to the palace. What's more, a courtyard has been built in the imperial garden. Even if it rains, it won't get in the way. So, it doesn't disturb the enjoyment of these people at all. However, the snow willow sitting on the right side of Zhou Batian suddenly felt like something had fallen. Palpitation as smoke, face in an instant change. Is this the power of witchcraft in the Second Awakening? Who is it? Who is it? Boom! A loud thunder from far away suddenly rose in mid-air. But even if it's far away, the thunder is really frightening. I saw that under the thunder, the people in the whole imperial garden, including the dancing dancers, were scared to stay where they were. What's the matter? Zhou Batian frowned, raised his eyes and looked out, but the weather outside seemed clear. There is no intention of rain at all. At this time, the eunuch rushed out to look around, then returned, bowing and respectfully saying, Your Majesty, it's the direction to the south, it's supposed to be raining by sight, and the thunder is coming from there. When Zhou Batian heard the speech, he didn't pursue it anymore. There's thunder coming from the south. No wonder there's a lot of rain in the south. Yes, just now the thunder was a little loud. I almost thought it was thunder in the dry weather. If it's okay, if it's okay. Sitting around the dignitaries and nobles, see Zhou Batian face is not changeable, also you a word I a language, all said with a smile. But I didn't notice that the queen sitting on Zhou Batian's right hand was very ugly. That pair of black eyes, as if to endure something, but not purple swept. Boo! There was another sudden thunder. Xuelio's face suddenly turned white, as if she had been hurt by something. Poof! In full view of the public, a mouthful of blood shot out instantly. All the people present were stunned. After a while, they all changed their faces. Empress! Empress, what's the matter? The voice of surprise. Zhou Batian suddenly vomited blood on Xuelio, his brow wrinkled, and then he yelled angrily, What are you doing? Call the imperial doctor quickly. The sudden change over there is also happening. I saw that when the third thunderbolt cut through the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the rain was pouring down. On the square, Long Qingxie, Nenganji, Shangguan, Xiaoqiu, Hongling all surprised, looking at the bright purple-green vine cocoon. Falling rain, drenching on the cocoon, seems to be absorbed in an instant. Green vines are moistened, and small purple flowers emerge outside the cocoon. The faint fragrance of flowers in my heart can spread and open all around under the heavy rain. At this moment, everything in the world seems to be quiet. A few people in the rain, no sound, just like that, quietly staring at that, the longer the more flowers out of the cocoon. Can clearly feel the power of life in the cocoon. Also feel as if everything has become so comfortable, so calm as water, even the loftiness in the high altitude. There is a moment of zhengleng. However, it's still a monster that has lived for thousands of years. In a masked god, soon also reaction, eyes appear a surprised color, staring at the purple flower cocoon. The power of witchcraft. No wonder it can drive the aura between heaven and earth for your own use. Now it's just the second awakening. It has such strange power. If you wake up completely, that girl will. Murmuring to himself at the end, the sublime words suddenly stopped. However, the dark current in those eyes swept by at a very fast speed, and there was a deep and mysterious feeling, which made people feel dangerous and strange. Cloud dance in pain torment, already don't know how long. Anyway, she felt that her whole body was so painful that she had become numb, but she knew very well that her body was still changing, and she didn't know how and what it was like. I couldn't get rid of the strange feeling that bound her. So, she had to wait. Time goes by little. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days in the square waiting for the dragon Qingxi and others, but also still quietly waiting for the cocoon itself out of the moment. Just a few days later, it seems that the cocoon doesn't mean to break it. On the contrary, the purple flowers grow more and more luxuriant. Finally, Shangguan was a little impatient. I said, "This place is not too safe. Do you want to take her out to find a place to settle down, and then wait slowly?" If Nangong Yi didn't ask for the base of the 10,000 beast sect, Shangguan really didn't want to come back. However, he has been waiting here these days because of curiosity. Because that young man clearly cut off the gas, but in the hands of Nangong Yi and that dragon 4, he revived again, and was wrapped into a cocoon by those green vines. This really surprised him and made him curious. Anyway, he wanted to wait for the situation after the cocoon broke. However, we have been waiting for several days. No matter how curious he was, some of his curiosity was worn away. What's more, his sense of crisis gradually rose after he regained his sense of reason. I don't think this place is safe. Long Qingxie hears the sound and gives him a cold glance when he looks at him. He obviously doesn't agree. On the other hand, Xiao Smelly and Hongling turned to stare at the Shangguan. They were too lazy to answer him. These 3 arrogant attitudes made Shangguan feel depressed. He is also a kind-hearted suggestion. You know, although this beast gate is the base of the southern forest, it is only a peripheral base of the beast gate. If we let the real people inside the base know, the consequences will be. When he thought about it, Shangguan could not help shivering and glanced at Nangong Yi. You say something, don't you want to stay here and wait for him to break the cocoon? He was afraid that when the time came, what he was waiting for was not Xiao Wu breaking the cocoon, but the dangerous opponent. At this time, Nangong Yi took the white veil to cover his handsome face and his third eye. Looking at the direction of Cloud Dance, he said calmly, "She can't move now." Naturally, people present heard that. Long Qingxie looked at the Shangguan and said coldly, "If you want to go, no one will stop you." He didn't say that he was going. It seemed that he was afraid of death. Shangguan is a little stuffy. Has the final say? Well, you have the final say. Anyway, if you are in danger, you will be the first to play it. I am worried about what it is. Red Ling, that flower on the tusk canthus dew, close to him, "You stinky boy, give chirp again, believe it or not, I eat you." Shangguan some was scared back a step, the face under the black gauze, seemed to eat a fly like some ugly. Fortunately, at this time, "Ka." It's like a little crack. Although the voice is very small, but the presence of people, whose ears are not sharp. In an instant, everyone's eyes looked at the cocoon that had been quiet for several days. A few small cracks, after cracking, along the branch of the green vine, with not fast but not slow speed, bit by bit extended to break. This process, people can't help but hold their breath, inexplicably nervous. And at the moment when the slit opened, those luxuriant purple flowers began to wither rapidly, as a result when the cocoon is completely split by the slit. The outer layer is already full of dark purple fruits. Xiaoqiu and Hongling, who have been nestling around Yunwu, can't help swallowing when they smell the fruit fragrance with their keen nose. Very greedy. However, at this moment, they are very clever quietly in place, staring at the cocoon falling, waiting for their hemp master to appear. Dragon Qing Evil also inexplicably some nervous, unconsciously clenched his fist. I wanted to go forward, but I was worried that it would hinder her. Nanganji is probably the most peaceful one among several people. Because he has seen her safety, what else can he worry about? Suddenly, brush. In the air, several extremely fast strange attacks suddenly hit in the void. Originally, he was still staring at the dragon Qingxie, who was dancing in the clouds and breaking the cocoon. At that moment, the golden pupil's killing intention appeared. Almost in that second, his body was strangely flashed, a cold light flew out of the air, and the épée split away. Clang clang. The attack of sneak attack is directly resisted. Nangong is also in that moment, body shape in a flash, long sword ling out, eyes deep cold stare at that mid-air, appear of 5 people in black. Who are you? Just now, they didn't feel anyone coming. Even they are not aware of it. It can be seen that the strength of these people is not simple. The 5 men in black, who were flying in the air, were all expressionless with cold eyes. Eyes, from the beginning locked in the square, is breaking the cocoon of the cloud dance body. Our goal is not you. If you are wise, get out of the way. Otherwise, don't blame us for removing you. The middle-aged man in black, who was the leader, gave a cold glance at the dragon Qingxie. The man with white gauze, just a sword, no the strength, 8 peak. In their eyes, it's not enough. However, the man who has just resisted their attack is the only one they can fear. Because, with their current strength, they didn't feel the fluctuation of the man's strength. That can only show that the strength of that man is either the same as them or higher than them. Such a young boy can have such strength, how can people not fear it? When Long Qingxie heard the words, he suddenly drew a cold and bloodthirsty smile arc in the corner of his mouth. You don't need to get rid of us. I'll send you down first. Later, I'll send your master to see you. In recent days, he has been patient for a long time. Who are these people? Long Qingxie knows very well in his heart. Since the queen has already sent people to the door, he will vent well. Under the language falls, the whole aura of Dragon Qingxie has changed greatly in an instant, and there is no hiding at all. The strong air belongs to the peak of the great warrior, just like the explosive thunder that is stretched to the limit, which can spin in an instant, hold the épée in hand, and jump up. Who the cold light flashed and the épée roared. The 5 men in black in the air were all surprised and alert when they felt the strength of the dragon. Samurai peak? The 5 men in black looked at each other. At the moment of Dragon's evil attack, the tacit understanding was completely scattered. They are all big assassins, 5 to 1, absolutely more than enough. However, the target they want to kill this time is the man in the cocoon on the ground. Therefore, 5 people in the moment of separation, 3 people separated in 3 directions directly against the dragon. And the other 2, straight to the cloud on the ground. The corner of the dragon's eyes sweeps, and the golden pupil's rage flies by. All of them are looking for death. Under the roar, the strange black light of the épée in Long Qingxie's hand flits by, and falls in the void with the force of lightning. Who one of them, a man in black, suddenly, his body was directly split open. Plasma, like blood in the sky, exploded in everyone's eyes. And this scene, all of a sudden, shocked everyone. Including the 3 men in black who were besieging the dragon, they were all shocked. How is that possible? He can be separated from space looking at the next Shangguan, is also a moment of consternation stare big eyes, chin some can't close. Although he knew that the strength of the Dragon 4 was stronger than that of him, he never knew that this powerful was not a little bit. Nanganji, If you let anyone touch her hair, I'll peel your skin. Long Qingxie's cold voice came from the air. Nangong Yi, who is holding a sword, looks at a man in black who is attacking. His eyes are cold. That white doe gauze under the handsome face, also slightly raised a touch of cool color, light responsive voice. Rest assured. Without his warning, he would not stand by for her. The white clothes brush, the South Palace figure already quickly Ling rise, straight to greet up. I don't know if I don't do it. I'll attack the fatal point of the man in black. The white shadow is like a mirage. Its ruthlessness and speed completely exceed the strength of the 8th level peak. Only 2 rounds later, the man in black began to brush a look of surprise in his disdainful eyes. How can you hide your strength all the time? Looking at Nangong Yi, the man in black is full of coldness and fierceness. Nangong Yi didn't answer him, but he was moving faster and faster. Because it's not far behind, its cloud dance Shangguan looked at the situation above and below. For a moment, he didn't run away secretly. It's just that he can't get involved in this kind of battle. He also quietly stepped back a few steps. Also don't know he is intentional or unintentional, where don't stand in front of the cloud dance, inexplicably have a kind of protection posture. Small stink with red ling and small red snake. Nature is in the cloud around the 2 sides, full of vigilance staring at the war. The same canthus were full of tusks. It seemed that whoever dares to get close to them would kill them. For a while, the cloud dance, which was still in the cocoon, became the protection center of the whole battle. Comfortable hot flu spread throughout the blood. In fact, Yunwu was already in the mood at the time of cocoon crack, but she couldn't open her eyes and break the shackles of her body. However, she can clearly feel everything outside, even the fluctuation of a small particle of dust in the air. Including the 5 people in black quietly into the change she can feel. It's powerful, it's weird. However, her whole body could not move at this time, and she could not make any sound. I can only feel the outside world quietly, the people who fight for her and protect her, the smell of blood. It's washing and dyeing this space. As for whose blood it was, it may have been impossible to tell when the battle became white-hot. Even the Shangguan, when Nangongji was struggling, showed his beast-like claws and threw himself to help. However, this battle is just the beginning. Because she showed up. A concise but gorgeous dress, beautiful facial features, hot body, but how can not cover up the dark gloomy breath of the woman? Today's queen, Snow Willow. It turned out that I was hiding in the base of the beast gate. No wonder the breath would be covered up, which made me easy to find. Snow Willow Phoenix eyes, in a sea that the square, has been in the cocoon of the clouds, full of gloomy. In the gruesome soliloquy said, the figure jumped in the air. Gold cloud dance. When the dragon Qing Xie's ape cleaves down and solves a big assassin again, he will face the Snow Willow with great speed. Did you ask me for permission before you tried to touch her? The dragon's evil body came in a flash. The purple light in Shuelyo's phoenix eyes flashed by, disdaining to hum coldly, just because you want to do it with me. Hum hand a brush, a black flame quickly hit the past. As soon as Long Qingxie saw the black flame, his face changed and his figure flashed away. Fire of darkness? How could she use the fire of darkness? In the witch clan, the fire of darkness is included in the existence of forbidden fire, because as long as it is touched by the fire of darkness, everything can be swallowed up, and there is no vitality to speak of. Generally, the fire of darkness is not used until it has to be used. But this Snow Willow can use it freely. So the source of the fire of darkness was in her. Dragon Qing evil in determining this idea, but the bottom of my heart is a tight cloud dance. I saw that when the dragon fell away, the Snow Willow figure had turned to the position of cloud dance. Xiao Stinky and Hongling bared their teeth and ate it, so they rushed fiercely. But in Shuelyo's eyes, even if the 2 little monsters in front of her are extraordinary things, they are too small to threaten her. A cold glance, a wave, directly the 2 little guy to throw away. At the same time, the hands of the black flame, directly hard into the cocoon, inside. For the first time, let you escape. For the second time, I want you to have no bones. Looking at the big cocoon in front of her, Xuelio's face finally raised a smile of complacency. Dragon Qing evil reaction. Face big change of moment. Extremely angry Canthus ferocious. I want to kill you. Like the roar of fury, accompanied by a group of endless dark force, straight toward the snow willow. At that moment, he seemed to be crazy snow willow in a feel that familiar but strange breath, a sign lung. Then, a touch of surprise passed in those beautiful eyes. The power of darkness? The power of darkness in him? However, looking at the attack, Xuelio was not unprepared. With both hands turned up, the fire of darkness suddenly jumped up and closed, and the breath in the air suddenly became cold and hot, which made people feel cold. She also does not move, waiting for the dragon to pour evil to attack. On the other side, Nangong Yi, who is still entangled with the assassin, shrinks his eyes when he sees the flame in Xuelio's hands and shouts out, "Be careful!" However, Nangong Yi's cry was a step too late. When the dragon attacks, Xuelio disdains a cold hum. His eyes flashed purple, and a strange and strong breath was lifted in his body. The flame in his hand turned into a strange whip, and it went straight. Poof! A mouthful of blood gushed out, and the dragon's evil figure was instantly shot away. Every clown wants to be the enemy of this palace. The snow willow looks at the dragon that is hit to fly to pour evil, with that still resist of South Palace to keep up with the officer, extremely disdain general. However, when she thought of solving the problem herself today, she felt proud again. In her eyes, the person who could awaken the power of witchcraft once or twice was her real problem. Now that she can solve her problem by herself, it's not in vain that she left the imperial city for an excuse and came here in person. But she was proud, but not enough for 3 seconds. Click. What's broken by the sound? It's like an eggshell, but it's not. But it was at that moment. A dazzling red accompanied by a wisp of black flame from the cracked cocoon suddenly shot out. In an instant, he suddenly bounced away. Xuelio's body in the moment of light blooming. The red light is like the high temperature, as if it can instantly evaporate a person's terror. Snow willow in stable body shadow, looking at the red-purple-black light under the big cocoon. From the beginning Zheng Lung, consternation, to the last can't believe. His face suddenly turned black and blue. How possible? The breath in the air is not like the feeling of being devoured by her dark fire. It's a breath of vitality that can regenerate everything, like warm flowers in the twinkling of an eye. The black flame around the periphery of the light seemed to evaporate instantly, and it seemed to be swallowed by the red and purple light. Disappeared without a trace. The snow willow pupil mouth suddenly shrinks. The heart is ruthless a draw. No way. It can't be like this. Boom! There was an extremely hot explosion. The light was shining, the earthquake was shaking, like a rock breaking the sky, and just under the dazzling light, a figure came out of the cocoon. Like a shadow. But not immediately to the snow willow hand, but straight after the road was snow willow, that dark fire to fly to the dragon pour evil away. In a few seconds, the dazzling light finally faded. And also at that moment, all the people present are completely silly. Zheng looked at the woman falling from the air. With long black hair, elegant and flying, beautiful purple pupil, straight nose, small cherry mouth and white skin. What kind of beauty is that? I can't describe it, or I can't describe it with words at all. Every action is provocative and can make people feel incomparably perfect. That snow willow is also a beauty, but at this time, compared with that woman, she turns pale. Shangguan was completely stupid at this time. He was staring at me without blinking. Who told him? What's going on? Isn't Xiao Wu a man? How did it burst out of that cocoon and turn from male to female? I'm still such an eye-catching. Yunwu doesn't know the change of her appearance at this time. On the contrary, the man who was attacked by the fire of darkness made her anxious. After landing, Yunwu quickly reached out to his wrist and was relieved to make sure that he only had a little internal injury and no injury. It seems that the fire of the snow willow is of little use to the man. I don't know whether this man is a monster or a big one. However, at this time, the man seemed to be happy to hold her. He pretended to be quite like her. All right, just let it go. Looking at the man on the body, Cloud danced helpless mouth. However, when her voice came out, it was as beautiful as a spring. This can make Cloud dance oneself all one lung. Long Qingxie hears the sound and looks at Yunwu's more beautiful face, but his eyebrows are wrinkled. This woman, originally easy to recruit some rotten peach blossom, now this appearance, I'm afraid there will be time for him to cut rotten peach blossom in the future at this time of Cloud dance. Naturally don't know what men think at this time. After confirming that he is okay, the next thing is Xuelio. Snow Willow from the beginning, can't this like staring at the clouds, when you see her face, almost want to eat her blood and drink her flesh. Because she felt it. The second power of witchcraft in her has awakened. She knew what it meant. She can't let her live, she can't. It seems that I underestimated you in the beginning. However, if the palace went out in person, there is no reason for you to leave alive. Snow Willow that gloomy voice finished saying, hand a turn, if carve exquisite, but similar to the weapon of the big knife, suddenly vacate and come out. When she saw the weapon in her hand, Yunwu could not help but eyebrow a pick. What a powerful weapon. However, I don't know why, at the first sight of the sword, Yunwu likes it inexplicably from the bottom of his heart, and there is a feeling of ready to move in his blood. Little thing, don't underestimate that weapon. If you're not wrong, it should belong to the ancient weapon. Be careful. Dragon Qing Evil whispered with Cloud Dance said. The weapon of Guwu? Yunwu can't help but look at the sword in Xuelio's hand. On the handle and back of the sword, there are some ancient carved totems. It's just, how did totem make her feel so passionate? It seems that it should have belonged to her. Well, I like it. I'll take it. In any case, now she has a direct confrontation with her, and this battle is inevitable. Now that the war is over, kill it. Snow Willow down cruel words for a long time, do not see the clouds to take care of half a sentence, suddenly there is a kind of humiliated anger. Clenching his fists tightly, Wu even twisted his facial features. Okay, I'll take you on the road. Under the roar, the black flame leaped up and wrapped the dagger. It had a strange shape and had already attacked the clouds at top speed. The blood in the Cloud Dance purple eye flits past. Low cold dynasty nearby man said, dodge? Long Qingxie never likes to hide behind women, especially those she likes. However, because it was her, he was willing to listen. Be careful. Concern falls a word, tall figure already a sensitive jump, go straight toward the direction of South Palace. At the moment of Dragon's departure, Yunwu's hands turned up, and the elements of fire and water jumped from her palm at the same time. Then, under the startled eyes of Snow Willow, his hands clasped instantaneously. With the integration of elements, it can condense into elemental animal body, which is aggressive, but its strength is greatly reduced by half. However, the fusion of different elements has never happened before. In other words, it's impossible. Two different elements will only repel each other. How can they be fused? But the Cloud Dance in front of me as soon as the Snow Willow fell, the black flame sword in his hand roared down. It's very fast. Cloud Dance hands still keep this class posture. However, in the moment of Snow Willow attack, but a tip on tiptoe, figures such as spring, jump in the air to avoid. Looking at the evasion of Cloud Dance, Xuelio's eye-killing is more arrogant. Regardless of the girl in front of her, her strength after the second awakening is not any, but she will definitely not be her opponent. Otherwise, they would not dodge like this. This idea in the heart of fall, Snow Willow heart bottom certainly, this next killer is more swift and fearless. Brush. The roaring sound of the sword is like the strong wind, which brings up bursts of shade. However, every time when she was about to dance with a machete, she always flashed by like the wind under her feet. Make Snow Willow, every time brandish a knife, all of exasperation rises. Xuelio gritted her teeth. It seems that you don't want to fight me head-on. Okay, I'll kill your friend first. See, in that Snow Willow that words fall, that originally dodged Cloud Dance, finally stopped. This makes Xuelio sneer. The next second, in the hand of the sword, take advantage of this opportunity, suddenly toward the Cloud Dance. The cloud dances, the purple eyes spread, and the corner of the mouth also outlines a strange smile arc. The red and blue swords condensed in that moment. A knife and a sword contradicted each other at that moment. The roaring sound of the sword, like the river and the sea, pierced the sky. Hum. Two people's strength confrontation to a limit, abruptly separated. In the second of separation, an obscure power wave suddenly spread from the two people's central area. Long Qingxie, Nangong Yi and others quickly aroused the fighting spirit to cover the whole body, which resisted the spread of the power. On the other side, Xiaoqiu and Hongling fell into deep sleep as soon as Yunwu came out of the cocoon. So there is no fluctuation in that force. Who are you? Where did it come from? Xueliu looks at the clouds with an ugly face. At this time, the tiger's mouth of her palm was painful, all because of the reason that she combined with the power of cloud dance. Others may not know, but Xueliu is very clear in her heart. Just now, she almost exerted all her strength in the middle period of whooshing. It didn't hurt her half. On the contrary, it was hurt by her strength. The strength of the girl in front of her can match her? This is the existence that makes her scared. This is the second awakening of the power of witchcraft, which can match her. If there is another one, then she at the thought of that possibility, Xueliu's ugly face suddenly turned to fierce, and a strong murderous air emerged. Cloud dance feel her body murderous, purple pupils slightly squint. It seems that the snow willow's intention to kill her is more serious. She can't be completely unaware of her physical changes. At this time, she seems to have just been transformed from the new, full of amazing strength. However, Yunwu felt that this kind of power was forced into the body to expand, not from self-cultivation. It would be precipitated after a short time. Therefore, if we want to fight, we must take advantage of this opportunity to solve the problem quickly. Don't you know who I am? Cloud Dance coldly raises the corner of the mouth, does not answer the rhetorical question to her question. Well, in that case, I can't keep you. Snow Willow momentum also from just repressed, suddenly into the full burst. Who with the roar of the sword, the black flame came to the clouds and danced away. Yunwu stands on tiptoe and retreats, but the sword in his hand, which is made of water and fire elements, is also flying across with a strange breath. Shusha. Like water, like fire, like cold, like hot power fluctuations, and the black flame meet, in the air mutual bite. But at the same time, Snow Willow speed is extremely fast, skimming another direction, face to face the Cloud Dance hit. Cloud Dance pupil Mao Mi, body already instinct of a dodge. I saw, in the position where she dodged, the moment she was attacked by the black light, the ground was corroded and split into a huge gap. You are so fond of running, then I want you to have nowhere to run. Dark angry Jiao drink, a black flame, like early preparation, brush fast to the cloud in front of. The cloud dances to see this, the purple eye sinks. Hiding? It's too late. On Xueliu's cruel face, she finally raised a smile again. Surround, explode. I saw that, under the soft voice, the black flame suddenly rose and opened like a curtain of fire, like a self-consciousness, and wrapped up the whole person in an instant. The next second, the flame burst. Boom. The strong and surging explosion sounds like thunder in the sky. And the powerful explosion energy also suddenly spread and open. Yunwu was surrounded by the black flame and then exploded. In this case, there might be no residue left. It's too young to fight with this palace. Xueliu coldly looked at the location of the explosion and sneered. The three men in black on the ground, seeing the terrible power of the master, cast a more respectful look at Xueliu. However, but in the next second, Snow Willow and those people in black suddenly stare big eyes. After the black smoke of the black flame explosion subsided, I thought I would see a burnt corpse or burnt ash. After all, it's the fire of darkness. Anything touched by it will be burned clean. The forbidden fire in the witch clan, however, when the smoke disappeared, the position, the figure, but still intact standing there. Not even a shirt is missing. The only difference is that she is wrapped in a red light. On the other side of her body was a round and cute little fellow with scarlet eyes. He was protecting her with his red wings. As the phoenix power, red fire, extremely dazzling. Snow willow pupil a shrink, phoenix call? She's a summoner? This scene also surprised the people in black, even the Shangguan. What's going on? The little monster, who is neither human nor beast, is actually a phoenix? I saw that the next situation, but also let the audience some surprise. Because, in addition to the amazing posture of Cloud Dance, there is also a big red flower, just like the soaring vine, which surrounded the whole square at some time. It is as small as silk root, covering the ground of the whole square. There is a kind of ground network formation posture. Master, how are you doing? These people bully you. I'll kill them for you. Hongling was originally a young voice. At this time, it became a young voice. But the surface of the little stink around Yunwu doesn't change much. The only change is that its red fur wings turn into a huge flame, its eyes are scarlet and fierce, and its tusks twinkle. Let the original lovely silly become extremely vicious terror. Mama, don't be afraid. With me, I'll let all the bad guys die. Angry voice, is that heavy in creeps. Cloud Dance looks at in front of us. This is a cute little guy. The constant connection between the bottom of her heart and them made her feel the anger they worried about her. These little guys could then follow me and fight the bad guys together. Cloud Dance haha smile way. Xuelyo looked at them, and her sense of crisis soared. The moment of the black flame rising, buckle, in a moment, a strange black python, in a moment from the flame condensation vacated. As soon as the python came out, the gloomy atmosphere in the air was turbulent, showing a strong force. Hiss! Go, kill her for me. Snow Willow's eyes stare at the clouds. I saw that the python is also a moment, as if by the independent consciousness, suddenly fierce stare to the cloud. At the next moment, the boa constrictor rose and flew straight to the clouds. The cloud dances, and the purple eyes are cold. Even though they have all reached this point, it's better not to do it twice. While the power is still there, we should join hands with these two little guys to wipe out the biggest enemy in front of us. Cloud Dance didn't condense elements into beasts, but clasped hands and raised a roaring sword. In a flash of cold light, the sword takes off for a moment, and the cloud dancing figure goes up at top speed. However, it dropped a sentence. Stink, Hongling, what are you doing? Let go of your stomach and eat appetizers. As soon as the two little guys heard it, they were excited and their molars roared. Snow Willow see this, but Young Mouth sneer. A bunch of clowns. Although, surprised Cloud Dance can compete with her strength, and she is a summoner. But that's all. She can uproot the whole sorcery. This is just the second time to awaken the power of sorcery. How can she really not be able to kill her? What's more, she didn't pay attention to the weak and ugly things around her. However, her self-confidence, but very stiff in the face. The ferocious black python, just jumped on it, was directly split by a sword-like edge. Hiss! The boa constrictor's painful roar pierces the air. Instantly, the solidified body disappears and returns to the black flame. But before the flame disappeared, I was taken off by the little stink. When he opened his mouth, the black flame poured into his small mouth like a huge stream. Gudong! Straight down. After swallowing, the little stink didn't do any damage. On the contrary, the wings of the flame behind him seemed to be a little more silvery black, but the temperature was higher, just like a tonic. Any more? Not enough to eat. Small Stink licked his lips, a pair of not enough teeth. And Hongling, without saying anything, rushed to the man in black who had the top strength of the remaining 3 assassins. For it, this kind of powerful enemy can really make up for it. The smile on Yunwu's face deepened a little. How possible? Xuelyo looked at his dark fire in amazement and was swallowed alive. It seemed that the whole person was not very good. It's impossible. Before, this little monster was so weak that it could be killed with a clap. How come in a flash, however, the summoner and the contract beast are connected? Once the master strength is promoted, or the contract beast evolves, the other side can be promoted. This is one of the reasons why the summoner is against heaven. The expansion of Yunwoo's power is naturally associated with her contract beast. No way. In your eyes, I'm afraid nothing in the world makes you feel impossible, right? Queen Cloud Dance sneered. Shuelyo opened her eyes in amazement and stared at her. Do you know I'm the queen? Who the hell are you? Since she became the queen, she seldom went out of the palace, and few people knew her. What's more, she never met the girl in front of her. Otherwise, she will not let her grow up to the present situation. Who am I? I'm afraid the queen is not qualified to know this, but I'd like to give you a ride. The cloud dances coldly and laughs, but the body suddenly breaks. The snow willow is fierce and fierce. Shwa. Shuelyo's eyes widened again, surprised see cloud dance in the body shape of a flash out of time, so bare-handed in the air to intercept the sharp knife. Blood. Into the big knife. The ancient totem on the dagger, shining like a flash of strange purple light, instantly shrouded the whole sky. Time has stopped. Everything in the world seems to be fixed at this moment. Only Cloud Dance can clearly feel all the changes under the purple light. Cloud Dance quietly looked at the sword in his hand and felt the roaring sound of the sword. It's like calling her. Originally, the palm of the hand cut by the big knife healed gradually under the purple light. It seems that it is healing for her. In fact, she was gambling. When she saw the big knife at the first sight, she felt inexplicable love for it, so she was ready to do it. It seems that she really guessed right. This big knife belongs to her. Ding! All of a sudden, in the sea of consciousness, there is a sound like a bell. At first, some of Cloud Dance didn't react. It was not until the sword flew out of Shuelyo's hand and fell into her hand that Yunwoo reacted to a sudden vibration in the sea of consciousness. It's on? Did the door of Chaos Hall open? What's going on? Hoo-hoo! At this time, the sword in Yunwoo's hand seemed to be summoned, just like the huge waves, making bursts of sword roaring. Under the purple light, it is extremely spectacular. It's also very weird. Outside the Hall of Chaos, the beard, which was originally a stone statue, also seemed to be affected at this moment and suddenly recovered to human form. Dragon Ting Dao? When he heard the roar of the sword in response, his eyes flashed with amazement. I didn't expect that girl could find Long Ting Dao, and it's recognized. When Big Beard said, he couldn't help looking up at the scene in front of him. The plants are green, the sun is shining, the clouds are slowly. This space is no longer what it used to be. It's full of fog. At this time, it is to give people a kind of comfortable beauty. It's more and more like the prosperity of 1,000 years ago. I don't know why, a kind of nostalgia, a kind of melancholy, even vicissitudes suddenly surged up in Bearded's heart. Is that girl really destined to come? Originally, the closed door of Chaos Hall has been reopened. Cloud Dance seems to be able to feel that something has changed in the Hall of Chaos. However, this is not the time to check, because that originally shrouded in the purple light of this space has gradually faded. Originally static time has begun to run. Snow Willow in Wake Up that moment, stare big eyes is that startled color. You! When did she take the big knife in her hand? Obviously, in Shuelyo's eyes, the time just at rest didn't exist at all. He thought that it was in the blink of an eye that the sword in his hand was taken away by Yunwoo, and he was shocked. Seeing the startled expression of Snow Willow in front of him, Yunwoo felt a kind of unspeakable joy. When she chased her again and again, did she ever think that she had today? Cloud Dance couldn't help laughing for a moment, and sneered, "What's wrong with me? Queen, who are you?" Finally, Shuelyo could not help roaring. The more she could not guess her identity, the more frightened she was. Seeing this, Yunwoo laughed again. Snow Willow in her laughter, the heart is more hair up. What are you laughing at? Say, who are you? This is the 4th time I've asked the same question. The cloud danced with laughter, and a very cold streamer flashed in those purple eyes, just like the river water of the glacier, and the face was like ice. In this world, anyone can ask me who I am, but you can't, because you don't deserve. Cloud Dance said at the same time, In front of her face, the palm gently turned up, a black flame suddenly jumped out of her palm. Fire of darkness. Shuelyo's face turned white instantly. She wanted to take back the ancient sword from Yunwu. Give me the knife back. However, Cloud danced but backhand a yang, black flame immediately attacked toward her. Seeing this, Shuelyo had to dodge in a hurry. Canthus eyes to crack staring at the clouds, a gas blocked in the chest like, very angry. But at this time, she did not even dare to touch the black flame. Now that I have this knife in my hand, I have no reason to return it. However, Empress, why are you so afraid of the black flame all of a sudden? Just now, do you still believe it? Cloud danced these words, can let Snow Willow that facial expression iron black like that pot-bottom general. Don't deceive too much. As if he had been humiliated, he gave a roar. Too much deception? Cloud dance, a sneer at the bottom of my heart. At the beginning, when she was in the palace, she found fault with her and almost killed her. Why didn't she say that she was too deceiving? People are good at being bullied. People like to pinch persimmons. Yunwu thinks that he is not a good man, and even realizes that he is a cold-blooded man. She just cheated too much. What's the difference? What's more, to her the black flame does not make people feel that the temperature is rising again. On the contrary, it has a dark and gloomy feeling. At this time, but in the hands of Cloud dance, like a docile lamb, flashing and jumping in her palm. It turns out that the flame of the dark fire stored by the witch clan is sealed in this ancient martial art sword. As long as anyone gets this ancient sword, he can control the dark fire at the same time. That's why the Snow Willow could do whatever she wanted before, but at this time, she didn't dare to touch the black flame. Queen, I said to give you a ride, so I will give you a ride in the way you are most familiar with. Yunwu is not stalling with her anymore. When he said this, he brushed the piercing cold at the bottom of his eyes, and the black flame in his hands closed in an instant. Black dragon, proud of the sky. Roar. The sound of the dragon roars. That strong breath is not weaker than the previous python. Snow Willow face a white, suddenly startled voice rang out. You can use the sorcerer's secret skill? No, impossible. Cloud dance didn't answer. The black dragon on the top of his head fiercely opened his tusks and rushed to the past. Shuelyo's pupils shrank rapidly, and her heart suddenly trembled. It's too late to hide. Ka. Suddenly in the air, suddenly shot a strange cold light. Roar at the moment when the dragon began to sing, he saw that the black dragon was abruptly scattered under the cold light. Then, no one was given a chance to react. Snow Willow's figure is like being pulled by something and flying in the air. Yunwu's face suddenly sank and raised her eyes. When I saw the lofty figure in the air, I brushed a touch of anger in my purple eyes. What do you mean? Lofty face slightly smile, Chaoyan dance also quite polite nodded, just said, Girl, as sell me a favor, this woman's life, I'll take it to pay off the debt in the future. If you have something to ask, I will certainly pay you a favor. With that lofty saying, it seems that without waiting for Yunwu's reply, he took the Snow Willow and turned away. Between two breaths, there was no trace. Master, he's taken people away. Hongling, who has already eaten 3 people in black, wants to recover the fragrance it has had for a long time, but it is stopped by Yunwu. The noble claimed to be a dead man, but it was not. Look at his skill. I'm afraid he's a man with high strength and unpredictable whereabouts. Now that he's saying that, he can't catch up. Hongling can only stop, although the heart is thinking about the fragrance, but also can only wait for a chance to eat later. Little Smelly took back his wings from mid-air and sat on Yunwu's shoulder. Scarlet big cute eyes have returned to normal, behind the red hair wings, at this time, like a red dress, wrapped its whole body, very happy and lovely. Small stinky pink face, like a coquettish rub Cloud dance, said intimate like, hemp. The Cloud dances with a smile and reaches out to touch it like a pet. Seeing this, Hongling, naturally sour, put his big flower bud together. Master, I also want to touch. Good. Cloud dance can't laugh or cry, but also reach out to touch on its bud. Hongling is satisfied and enjoys the Cloud dance. At this time, Long Qingxie, Nangong Yi and Shangguan all came to her. Are you all right? Long Qingxie looked at her up and down. He saw everything that just happened, including the purple light and the time when time stopped. However, it seems that this woman did not intend to tell him, and he did not know. How are you? Nangong Yi asked gently. Xiao Wu, how did you become a woman? Shangguan also asked. These three voices sounded almost at the same time. Cloud Dance hears the sound and looks at the three men in front of her. For the first time, she rarely smiles and raises her hand. It's good that there's no lack of arms and legs. Although, I didn't kill the snow willow this time. However, it let her get the ancient sword in her hand, and also let her find that the strange black flame used by Xuelio actually depended on the sword in her hand. That's enough to make her happy. Because, the next time when she confronts her head-on, she will use her own strength and her Cloud Dance identity to recover what she owes her. And she believed that it was not too far away from such a moment. Seeing that Yunwu was really okay, Long Qingxie came forward and put out his hand to push the big red flower away. He threw the little stink on Yunwu's shoulder onto the bud of Hongling. She's tired enough. You're going to be alone. Long Qingxie recovers his black eyes and glances at them with a hint of threat. Hongling and Xiaoqiu, even if they are dissatisfied, have a sense of being forced to compromise in his eyes. Small Stinky lie on the big bud of Hongling, pout a small mouth, a face of discontent. This man is really annoying. He is always fighting with him. However, the dragon's evil spirits don't care what they think. As soon as the long arms stretched out, when Nangong Yi followed Shangguan's face, he immediately took Yunwu into his arms. With a Xuanba posture, he glanced at Nangong Yi and said, "If you don't have anything to do, you can go." Go. Before this, Shangguan would like to leave. However, at this time, it is like rooting at the foot, there is no intention to go. As for Nangong Yi, it's impossible to say that he let him go. Nangong Yi's white dosha, with a gentle smile on his handsome face, looks at Yunwu and opens his mouth gently. My poison has been cleared. I don't know if I can go with you for a while. Just think of it as a reward for my help. How about it? If Nangong Yi didn't add the last sentence, Yunwu would not agree. Because the purpose of her trip is to improve her own strength, and then go to the King of God Warrior Academy. It's impossible for them to follow. However, as soon as he said that, Yunwu was silent. She doesn't like to be in debt. This Nangong Yi always seems to be able to see through her, or understand her character. What you say can be used to the point just right. Since he said that he would go with her for a while, he didn't say that he would follow her all the time. Anyway, there is still a long way to go to the Samurai Academy. Let's go for a while and wait until the time to see the situation. In this way, it is regarded as paying off his favor. Think about it, it's worth it. So, after thinking about it, Yunwu agreed. Of course, the man around him is naturally discontented. It's strange that Long Qingxie didn't insist on opposing, although he didn't look very good. In the end, Nangong Yi left with her. Seeing that Nangong Yi has left, the Shangguan is naturally cheeky, and then he will be a follower. Anyway, his friend's poison has been removed, and now he is free again. He can go wherever he wants. Then follow them for the time being and see what thrilling things will happen in the follow-up. By the way, have a look at the beautiful women and raise their eyes. The cloud dances a few people. After leaving that 10,000 animal gate base, Long Qingxie starts the array that Chong'an helped set before. We destroyed the base directly. There are too many people who think that nightmares exist and are destroyed. It's very pleasant. However, cloud dance a few people do not know is, at the moment when the base was destroyed, a man in a black robe suddenly felt a strange smell, which suddenly lifted from his body. Destroyed? It's rubbish. Sounds like old but strong voice from the black robe. After a while, the man in black robe, almost covered in black robe, came out of the dark room. The bright sunshine outside was shining on him. Can see unexpectedly, there is a layer of black fog light cover on him. And the hand exposed under the black robe was very white and beautiful. It felt that the skin was as tender as a newborn baby. As for the face, because of the big hat on the black robe, the man's appearance could not be seen. Just as the man in black came out, a young man, dressed like a Taoist priest, came forward respectfully. "Master, are you out of the customs? The small one is ready for the bath. Do you want to eat first? Or shower first?" The man in black, known as the National Master, raised his head slightly. At this time, I could see clearly the face under the black robe. It was a handsome young face. About 24 or 25. However, that handsome face is white without blood, giving people a kind of, like in the morbid pale and weak, without any threat. However, when the boy looked up, he lowered his head in a trembling voice. I didn't even dare to look at the man's face. "Has the Lord given any orders recently?" The national teacher man glanced at him, still expressionless, and asked in a low voice. The young man quickly shook his head and said respectfully, "No, the Lord told no one to disturb the national teacher when he learned that the national teacher was in seclusion, so no one was allowed to disturb him." After hearing the speech, the national master lowered his head slightly and covered his face under the black robe. "Bath and change clothes. At noon I will meet the Lord." "Yes," after the boy responded, he quickly stepped back and prepared. And the black-robed national master, still standing in the same place, motionless, very strange. Until, good half ring. His pale and handsome face, suddenly raised, toward the south position, curled up that pair of strange black eyes. "I wish I had a chance to see you." An inexplicable word reverberates in this silent courtyard. Not as Yunwoo expected. Before she was fierce and hostile to Xuelio, she began to retreat in an hour or so. Little by little, it began to settle down. When it's completely settled, it's a day later. However, to Yunwoo's surprise, her original strength at the top of the 7th level stopped at the middle of the 8th level after this power precipitation. That is to say, after this time, she has reached the strength of the mid-8th level. For her, there was a sense of unexpected wealth. In addition, she also got the Guwu sword. Maybe the biggest harvest this time is the big knife. At this time, Dedeo was brought into the space by her, and because she suddenly followed 2 more men, Yunwoo had no chance to enter the Chaos Hall. In fact, she can find a place to rest, by the way to see Chaos Hall, with that has been no movement of Black Ao. Can let her have scruple now, is that South Palace E. His eyes, can see through her soul, who knows she entered the Chaos Hall, will he see through the existence of Chaos Hall? For Chaos Hall, in the eyes of Cloud Dance, it is the last guy to save his life. Even Long Qingxia, she has not revealed up to now. What's more, it's Nanganji who doesn't know about it at all. Compared with the northern forest, the southern Warcraft forest is much more luxuriant, and there are lots of grass around it. At this time, Cloud Dance, a few people in a day's walk, has walked in the edge of the Warcraft forest. However, it is not clear where Cloud Dance is on the edge. Anyway, the 2 little guys who were rushed to the front by Dragon Qingxia led the way along the way. As for whether those 2 little guys know the way or not, it's another matter. The only good thing is that, led by the 2 little guys, they didn't encounter any trace of Warcraft all the way down. It's estimated that I felt the breath of those 2 little guys in the morning, so I slipped away. Cloud Dance is also happy about this. And Long Qingxia and Nangong Yi have a slightly different atmosphere. What's wrong? I can't say Cloud Dance. Anyway, she really can't understand a man's heart. In particular, the man of Long Qingxia is even more puzzling, but come back. Shengguan's goods are really wonderful. He doesn't like to provoke anyone, so he likes to provoke Hongling to eat and play. Finally, he grabs the little red snake. Make Red Ling angry, several times all want to open up appetite, give him raw peel live swallow. It was noisy all the way. It's going to be night. Anyway, we can't get out of the forest so quickly. Otherwise, let's find a place to rest for one night. Shengguan turns his head and looks at Yunwoo and others. Cloud Dance looked at the dragon nearby to pour evil, and looked at the South Palace that the eye has been silent all the time. Finally, I didn't bother to ask them, so I said, Hongling, find a temporary cave nearby and have a rest for one night. Good. Hongling answered and ran away. Cloud dance a few people, also stop at the same place, wait for Red Ling to come back. Xiao Wu, can I ask you a question? See idle down, and Dragon Qing evil rarely did not hegemony in Cloud Dance side. Shengguan suddenly came forward, staring at her asked. Cloud Dance looked at him one eye, what problem? You said, you look so good, why do you have to put on such a fake? Don't you feel bad about it? Shengguan would come to ask this question because after leaving the base, Yunwu changed into an ordinary teenager. Originally, he wanted to appreciate beauty, to nourish his eyes, but he was disappointed, which made him feel itchy and uncomfortable. If Long Qingxie had not been around her all the way, he would have wanted to ask for it. Smell speech, Cloud dance a tiny lung. Uncomfortable? What's wrong with her? Camouflage, whether for her now or for her previous life, is like a necessity of life. In particular, she does not even know what her enemies are. At this time, in addition to the need to conserve energy, the more important thing is to disguise themselves. She always remembers a sentence that the man said to her at the beginning. Before finding out the enemy, she would rather be in the dark for 10 years than in the light for a while, because it is very likely that your enemy will kill you at that time. So, before she's really strong, she's not qualified to say, uncomfortable. Hey, little five, are you stupid? Or didn't you hear me? After waiting for a long time, I didn't hear Yunwu's answer. Shengguan couldn't help calling. Yunwu took back his mind, glanced at him and said, yes, but you should know the answer very well. Is he clear? When did he know? If he knew why she always liked to be like this, he would not come to ask her. However, at this time, Long Qingxie's low voice said, you don't have a black veil on your face all day long, and you haven't even taken off your salad. If you don't know why, you can go now. Long Qingxie is a good face giver. After coming, the tall figure separated him from the Cloud dance, and the black eyes coldly glanced at the Shengguan. Shengguan is depressed. However, this question also made him silent. Seeing that the Shengguan was still sensible, he let go. The evil spirit in the corner of the dragon's mouth rose slightly. As soon as his long arms stretched out, he leaned lazily against Yunwu. Little things, when else do you want them to follow you? In his low voice, some of them were dissatisfied. Cloud dance slants to overdue, saw the man nearby. Don't answer counter question. You and South Palace how? Dragon Qing evil a sign, however, but in the peace between seconds disappeared. Evil spirit smile arc still young, smile not smile of squint stare at Cloud dance. Little thing, you this is care about me? Or do you care about Nangonji? Cloud dance Canthus swept an eye dragon to poor evil one eye, gave him a white eye directly. Don't give me to diverge topic. This man's ability to diverge from the topic is really brilliant. A careless will follow his intention to be brought to his topic. Long Qingxie looked at the woman in his arms, and his black eyes flashed a touch of doting. You little thing, what are you doing so smart? This makes me useless. Yunwu naturally won't believe his complaint. This man's mind is too deep. Sometimes she can't figure it out. Who can count him more than cleverness? Come on, don't talk. Come on, what's going on? Cloud dance's serious rise, stare at him to ask away. There is something wrong with the atmosphere between him and Nangongyi. If it's okay, it's absolutely impossible. Long Qingxie shrugged. It's really nothing, just asked him some questions, he didn't give me an answer, I gave him a little dumb medicine, let him quiet for a few days. Dumb medicine? Cloud dance looked at the man in front of him, who was very relaxed, and suddenly he was speechless. No wonder, she said how all the way down, Nangongyi did not say a word, the atmosphere is not right strange. It was this man but, can let the dragon pour evil hand matter, certainly will not be some simple matter. What questions did you ask him? Yunwu couldn't help looking at him curiously. But she didn't know that she didn't mean to act like a woman, which was so dazzling to a man. Long Qingxie looked at her as if her eyes were soft. Can't help but grin up, embrace her shoulder big hand tight. Between two men, I can ask what, of course, is some women's business. Women? Cloud dance eyebrow tiny see you once, lift mouth to glance at him. However, he didn't ask him anything, just staring at him for a few seconds, then he took his eyes back. Long Qingxia seems to know her too well. He knows where her bottom line is. This little woman, although she has a cold and heartless face from time to time, in fact, she also has her arrogance, even very arrogant. Especially in the emotional, she does not understand the amorous feelings as you knock next to chase, but also the pattern wind does not move. But once the emotional, it is absolutely the kind of clean and spotless. It's not easy for her to change her attitude towards him a little. It won't take long to conquer her heart. Naturally, the dragon will not dig his own grave. I asked him if he had any thoughts on you. He came all the way to find you, and he followed you. You said he was not on guard. But Nangongyi didn't answer, so he was angry for her husband. So you know dragon inclined evil hook lips evil smile like Zhaoyun dance blinked, restore the previous appearance of the rogue. Seeing this, Yunwu couldn't help looking at him. Does this man have nothing to do when he's full? What's the matter? However, with this man's character, it seems that he can really do such a thing. Of course, Cloud Dance is not stupid. I know it must be more than that. However, Cloud Dance is also regarded as the whole, and did not intend to break the casserole to ask in the end. Actually, Yunwu's guess is right. If it's just such a simple matter, Long Qingxia really disdains to do it. But even he didn't understand that. How could he tell her? Master, I have found a place. At this time, the excited voice of Hongling came from a long distance. Then I saw a big red flower, waving the two small branches and leaves, running back from a dense jungle. Rustle. Behind the long branches, but also drag the chubby little stink. Master, where is the cave? It's a big cave. There are many delicious things in it. As soon as Hongling ran to Yunwu, she was so excited that she pointed to the direction it had just come back. However, Yunwu could not help but look down at the little stink behind Hongling, which was dragged back by its branches. What's the matter? Are you fighting again? These two little guys, when they are free, either compete for favor in front of her, or pinch each other and fight incessantly. Redling a listen, flower bud force that tusk ground, who wanna fight with that smelly guy? Master, you don't know, this smelly guy doesn't move at all rules in find food, didn't think of master, it wants to rush to eat, so, I'm punishing it, don't let it eat east and west. The little stink, who was dragged behind, was also angry. He suddenly raised his sharp teeth and was very dissatisfied. It's you who stole it first, you're a bad thing. Hongling bud fangs exposed, fierce, you dare to scold me, believe it or not, I eat you. Small smelly smell seems to be scared, small mouth of flat, suddenly 2 tears. He looked pitifully at Yunwu. Hemp, it wants to eat me, I'm afraid, I don't want to play with it, hemp hug. Then he waved the little fat claw to the cloud. Is it afraid? Who was in the cave just now, so fierce that he bared his teeth and fought with it? How many leaves did you pull off? Now I still have the face to show pity in front of my master? Falsely accuse it? After hearing this, Hongling was angry, and her teeth creaked, as if she wanted to drag it up to her mouth and chew it. But Hongling didn't do that. When she was so angry, she threw it into her mouth and planned to eat it first and then play. But the result is, almost did not jump its full mouth teeth. This guy is as hard as iron. He can't melt even if he is put into sulfuric acid. Seeing its poor coquetry, Hongling was angry, and the flower bud was full of fangs, which made a loud noise. Mama, I'm afraid. Small stink directly ignore the molar, small pitiful big sprout eyes, watery looking at the cloud. Cloud Dance can't see the nature of these two little guys. A strong eater, a cute and vicious one, are not simple goods. Looking at them, Cloud Dance can't help laughing and crying. Well, didn't you say you found the cave? Lead the way. At this time, the mouth is the dragon. See under his deep eyes. Hongling, who was so angry that she was grinding her teeth, suddenly disappeared. And that little stink, although not to bird him, but also did not continue to pretend poor, is some grievances like a look at the cloud. Then, obediently Renru Hongling continued to drag it, leading the way to the cave. Seeing this scene, Shangguan raised his eyebrows and looked at the dragon. Although his eyes can see through the source of human strength. However, from the beginning, he could not see through the real source of this man. It seems that this man must have a lot of talent. And the South Palace in one side although looking at them, but still a don't speak. Led by Hongling, several people went through the dense jungle and came to a bamboo forest. Is there a bamboo forest in the Warcraft forest? This, however, is quite novel. However, along the way did not encounter any Warcraft, also did not feel any danger. A few people also continue to go to the bamboo forest. In the lush bamboo forest, the air is very fresh. The more you go in, the more comfortable you feel. But at the bottom of Yunwu's heart, he suddenly felt a little strange, and felt that something was not right. Be careful. Something's wrong. Yunwu whispered to the man beside him. Dragon Qin evil mouth slightly raised, deep black eyes looked down at her one eye, doting over. It's okay, it's safe here for the time being, Yue husband is here. Cloud dance smell speech, can't help but slant ahead to see him one eye. Originally in the bottom of my heart uneasiness, inexplicably calm down. Master, it's here. Come quickly. At this time, Hongling's high voice came. In the past, there was a hidden cave just above the cliff in the bamboo forest. Come on, go and have a look. Well, a few people also walked toward that cave. Whoosh! There is a small sound of something sliding between the plants. Just about to step into the cave of Cloud Dance, can't help but step a meal. Frowning, he turned his head and swept the woods behind him. At the same time, his mental power spread around. Everything, swept by her mental power, clearly appeared in her mind. But the wind is still, the life is still. I didn't feel anything different. Is it just that she's oversensitive? Just as Cloud Dance frowned and swept towards the bamboo forest, Dragon Qingxia stopped and glanced out. But he soon took back his sight, reached for her waist and said, Come on, go in and have a look at the delicious food that Hongling said. Well. However, just after the two entered the cave. At that moment, the green bamboos began to move. In the setting sun, the bamboo leaves suddenly flicker, as if there is a living body, issued a very small rustle sound. It's weird. If people see this, it will certainly raise a kind of numbness of scalp. However, several people in the cave did not know this scene. As soon as they entered the cave, they were attracted by a strange aroma of fruit. Master, the fruit here is delicious. Try it. Hongling nest in the deep corner of the cave, from an unknown vine, picked a red fruit, and handed it to Yunwu. When seeing the fruit, Yunwu couldn't help raising her eyebrows. Flame fruit. Immediately, Cloud Dance line of sight can't help but sweep toward all around. It was found that the vine extended to the whole cave, forming at least a dozen fruits. At the beginning, I heard from Long Qingxia that it took 500 years for this flame fruit to blossom and bear fruit. It's rare to have a flame fruit. At the beginning, when Hongling was still a seed, she sucked up all the flaming fruits she had managed to get. Unexpectedly, there are so many in this cave. But at this time, another voice of surprise suddenly came from the other corner. Look, isn't this chiffon? Shangguan was a little excited and pointed to the corner of the wall. In the natural small pool, it was like a transparent grass, and his eyes were shining. Cymbidium? As soon as Yunwu heard this, his heart moved and he turned to look at what he was referring to. Almost transparent grass, quietly in the pool. If it's not just the setting sun, you can't find it in the little light refracted in. Looking at the Zhilan grass, Yunwu felt a little excited. Because the name of Zhilan grass is one of the herbs that Hayo mentioned to her last time. I didn't even record the dragon scroll, which really made Yunwu not know what Zhilan grass was like. But did not expect that it was such a small translucent grass. You may not know that this herb is one of the best medicines for repairing soul damage. The most important thing is that this orchid grass is very rare, because this orchid grass is very fragile, absolutely cannot be contaminated with any ground turbid gas, all must use the purest natural water, coupled with the installation of heaven and earth aura, 100 years to shape, look at this small orchid grass estimated to have 200 or 300 years, did not expect, this time was so lucky. The more excited the Shangguan was, the more Venus would appear in his eyes staring at the orchid grass in the small pool. In fact, for a pharmacist, seeing the best medicine is just as exciting as those greedy people seeing countless gold and silver treasures. Hearing what Shangguan said, Yunwu was a little surprised. It turns out that this Zhilan grass is so precious? No wonder. No wonder that Hayo would have said that she had not been able to find the herbs on those prescriptions. Even the dragon scroll has no recorded information. If she is allowed to find it by herself, it is estimated that she really can't start. It's a big bargain to meet today. However, looking at the Shangguan's blood in his eyes, it seems that he is determined to get this Zhilan grass. But it's not easy. However, just as Yunwu was thinking a little, the man around him whispered, "Little thing, what do you think?" Cloud Dance returned to God, looked at the dragon nearby, said, "Nothing, just feel just outside not quite right. Tonight, I'm afraid it won't be too calm." Dragon Qing evil mouth evil spirit slightly young, suddenly came forward. "You give small things, your careful thought for husband how can I know, if you want that Zhilan grass, later, take the opportunity but remember, by the way with the pool water, otherwise, that Zhilan grass can't live." With that, Long Qingxie withdrew his body and resumed his usual laziness. Smell the Cloud Dance of speech, can't help looking up, looked at him. Did he know that she was thinking about the orchid in her heart? This man is really sharp-eyed. Long Qingxie naturally noticed Yunwu's sight. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and he rubbed her little head. "Well, I'll go to Nanganji to have a chat. You can take advantage of the time to collect the good things around you. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be too late." With that, Long Qingxie didn't wait for Yunwu to answer, so he turned around and walked towards Nanganji, who was standing at the entrance of the cave. Looking at the departing dragon, Yunwu doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. This man, sometimes, is not too smart to feel terrible? However, hearing his words, Cloud Dance also temporarily shifted its attention to the Zhilan grass. The cave is very big. On the cliff of the cave, there are layers of vines, and the fruits of flamingo are hanging around the wall. Hongling and Xiaoqiu didn't get Yunwu's approval. So, even if I looked at the fruit in the cave, I didn't pick it. This can't help but make Yunwu feel more pity for these two little guys. Before it was really dark, Yunwu asked them to help pick the flaming fruit around. Of course, by the way, I dropped one into the two little guys' mouths, which made them addicted. After the flamingo was picked, there were 12 of them, except those eaten by the two little guys. Cloud Dance also did not say much. For people, directly one person 3 points. After collecting all the flame fruits in the cave, the temperature in the cave obviously began to drop a little. The night has fallen. It was dark and quiet outside. There was a fire in the cave, which made the whole cave bright. "Xiao Wu, you are not a pharmacist anyway, that Zhilan grass is of no use to you. It belongs to me. Here are my 3 flame fruits. I'll give them to you." From the beginning, Shangguan's eyes were fixed on the orchid in the corner. Originally this is also precious flame fruit, but in his eyes but no attraction, immediately, also with Cloud Dance first to discuss the deal. Because he knew very well that among several people, the only one who could rob Zhilan grass from him was Xiao Wu. Cloud Dance smell speech, lift mouth to see him one eye, half day didn't open mouth. This Shangguan heart a horizontal, directly in the hands of the 3 flame fruit into her arms. "You don't make a sound, I will when you agree. Well, first rest, when you leave tomorrow, I will think of a way to take the Zhilan grass away." Silence is acquiescence. No matter whether she agrees or not, Shangguan just thinks that if she accepts his 3 flame fruits, she will not rob him again. As soon as it was light tomorrow, he would go out to look for a container for his eyes and take away the natural water and orchid. It's the best medicine for alchemy. It's especially used to repair the soul, but it's really hard to find. Now it's hard to meet him. He wants to get it. However, Shangguan didn't know. Here, in addition to the cheeky man of Long Qingxie, there is also a woman who only likes to play cards according to her own common sense. What's more, that's what she's going to get. Cloud Dance looked at the satisfied Shangguan, who closed his eyes to sleep, then looked down at the 3 flame fruits in his hand, and didn't bother to talk to him. The hand moves, directly put that flame fruit into the space. Anyway, it's not for nothing. However, she never promised him anything. So Long Qingxie approached Yunwu. He naturally heard the words of Shangguan and Yunwu just now. Little thing, it's very hard to meet. If you want to, you'll have to do it quickly. He whispered in her ear. Hot breath in the ear, crisp, let Cloud Dance can't help but push his ambiguous posture. I know. You have a rest or wait. Rustle. Cloud Dance, that words haven't finished, outside, suddenly rang out, such as wind with leaves rustle sound. At night, some evening winds are not surprising. However, Cloud Dance suddenly frowned, and a sharp luster passed from the fundus of the eye. Long Qingxie also raised his eyebrows slightly and raised his mouth slightly, but he said to Yunwu in a low voice, I didn't expect that something would happen so soon. Wait a minute, be careful. Yunwu nodded. Be careful yourself. Dragon Qing evil smell speech. The corner of the mouth smile deepen, obviously hear her concern and pleasure. At this time, the Shangguan, who closed his eyes, seemed to notice something was wrong. He suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from the ground. Something's coming out there. Nangong Yi stood up and took a look at the Cloud Dance when he heard the rustling sound outside. After confirming that she and Long Qingxie had been aware of it, she stood outside the cave and stared at the darkness outside the cave with her eyes under the white veil. Hongling and Xiaoqiu seem to be aware that something is not right. They are close to Yunwu. Little thing, I'm afraid it's a little tricky this time. Wait a moment. If you have a chance, you'll leave first and go to the city of Shenwang Samurai Academy at the junction of the 3 kingdoms to find the waste. Long Qingxie's black eyes staring at the outside of the cave suddenly sank down. Leave first? Cloud Dance frowns and turns her head, looking at the man beside her. I saw that Long Qingxie's face seemed too deep. This man seldom shows such a look. What's the matter? Is it true that things outside are so terrible? So terrible that even he showed this kind of expression? Without waiting for Yunwu to ask him. At this time, in addition to the rustling sound, there seems to be a fine sound of quicksand outside the cave. Getting closer, finally, the movement stopped. It's just outside the cave. Be careful. Shangguan's face sank. He had already taken out the weapon in his hand, and his face was full of vigilance. Outside the cave, in the dark. Countless strange green light, suddenly flashing in the air, a strange smell of a trace of blowing. As soon as Long Qingxie smelled it, he put out his hand to cover Yunwu's mouth and nose for the first time. Stop breathing. There's psychedelic poison in the smell. See, in Long Qing evil voice of fall, Shangguan and Nangong Yi also quickly cover the nose and mouth. Brush. In the dark, a gloomy cold light, volleying into. Nangong Yi, standing at the entrance of the cave, his face slightly changed under the white veil, and his figure suddenly retreated. Bang! There was a loud bang. The cave vibrated and the dust rose. But also let a few people in the cave see clearly what it is. Wisteria? Snaketail? It's not like any of them, but it feels like all of them. It was like a red and purple whip. It was wet and sticky, but it had countless tusks. It was very disgusting. And the smelly and psychedelic poison in the air is emitted from the viscous liquid. What the hell is it? As soon as Yunwu saw that thing clearly, his consciousness rushed into the Hall of Chaos, trying to get some information from the Dragon Scroll. However, the tornado did not move, I do not know is not recorded, or incomplete records have not yet come together. Little things, take the opportunity to take what you want, let Hongling take you away. Long Qingxie said to Yunwu in a low voice that the Apei in his hand had been released. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.